Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE Project branding logo, that's one here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ring. Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I rolled over something. We won't let this roll too long, guys. I know there was a little bit of delay in the beginning, so we'll get to it pretty early today.
Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE Project branding logo, that's one here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ring. Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I rolled over something. If you guys are tuned in early on, you're in the building, hit that thumbs up.
Money work.
We're gonna let this roll the last time and then we'll get to it.
El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero.
SE Project branding logo, that's one here.
Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. And we're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ring. Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I rolled over something. What's good? What's good? Mike is in the building and welcome to another FreeStyle Sunday, everybody. And your boy is excited, to say the least. I know there was a little bit of wait, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. Our guest today is something other than what we usually get. And he's one of the most highly requested guys to be on the stream. And I'm super grateful he managed to take a little bit of his time to be on the stream and show some love and kind of basically talk about pretty much everything. But I think I have a couple of very interesting things that we can chat about that you guys are going to find very interesting and very refreshing that you might not know about Ebe. And I don't even think he know that I know about him. So it's going to be a really good one. And I'm very excited. So we're going to do what we do as we usually do on each stream. We're going to meet and greet every single person that's part of the chat, watching and showing love and showing support. So we're going to pop all of that stuff up on the screen really quickly. That way, as we're greeting everybody, of course, you get to show your name. That way, if you're a vlogger yourself, or maybe you create content, you get a little opportunity. You actually get to see who the person is. So we'll get that started. But I'm seeing a lot of names popping up already. That is really cool and very exciting. guys, I'm gonna say it, but we got Black Moses in the building. He is back, of course. That's a good look. Really appreciate it. We have Queens NYC's in the building as well. We have quite a few people really excited. We have Imagine Boo. Oh, we have a Dragon Ball Z fan in the building. I haven't seen you before, but very excited. Very happy to have you here. Life with Anna B, of course. Wifey's always showing love. That guy, Kels. I'm sure he's a fan of 650 Eve. This guy here is on the road. Super bike all day and every day. He's a local out here in New York. Great to see that as well. What else? What do we got? We have Donna Main, another regular, guys. Really like seeing people coming back and enjoying what we do and conducting these one-on-one interviews. That way you get to know a little bit better some of the people that you watch. Not only you see the glamorous side of the beautiful bikes, the multiple field of bikes, I'd say, when we were talking about Ebe here. But we get to know them a little bit better, and that's what we do here on the stream. So very excited. We also have Power Potatoes in the building also. What else we have? A lot more. Lenny Reyes. Chupapi Muñano. Yo, he's so dumb with the memes. Yeah, we'll read everything, all right? And we have Governor D Nice is in the building. He's a regular, always shows love to the channel, which I really, really appreciate, even when I'm down and not doing that great. Always here, always watching, showing love. We also have 750 Swift. All new names, guys, if you're new to the channel. And, of course, if you're part of Ebe's following, you could always subscribe to my channel as well and subscribe to his as well. And if you're watching this afterwards or just hearing it out, feel free to drop a comment. We will be replying to everyone. Also, big shout out to 750 Swift for dropping the super chat. I appreciate that. And I won't hold this a lot longer, guys. I want to make sure that we kind of get to it and not waste too much time. If you guys have questions, you could always drop them towards the end. We will go over and reply to pretty much everyone. There are more people coming up. J Electronica is in the building. For those of you guys that know, you know. That is mind-blowing as well, making this a little bit more nerve-wracking, I would say. 5 Ups in the building as well, guys. Oh, man, a lot of people are coming out, man. We have Izzy Bandicourt is in the building. A lot of guys, I can't keep doing this. A lot more people are going to keep showing up. Hopefully you guys are here, you're enjoying. But we're going to get right to it, guys. So, 650 Ebe. So, where do we start, right? Where do we start, man? We'll let, I guess, let's let him, I guess, introduce himself for a little bit. I want to play you guys a clip of his work from his channel, which I think is really, really cool, and kind of give you a general idea of what he does on YouTube. And then from there, we'll kind of talk a little bit. All right.
But he's going and going and going and going on this beautiful stretch of roadway. What better ways to end an awesome weekend of fun and amazing riding? Well, hey everybody, it's your good buddy 650 Ebe here, and I'm still in beautiful Tennessee, and today I'm starting the video at Center Hill Dam, a very scenic and beautiful place where the roads are just almost too good to be true, and I'm hanging out with some of my good buddies, and we're going to do some riding on these beautiful streets.
There we go, man. And of course, I'm sure you guys are very familiar with seeing clips like this of the legend, all right, Streets legend, 650 Ebe. So we'll bring him on so he can kind of talk about exactly what he does, guys. And then from there, we'll start with the questioning. What's good, Ebe? Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it.
Mike, I'm so glad to be here, man. I'm glad we were finally able to get the scheduling down for me to be, as you would say, in the building. Right.
Oh, man, it's really, really great to have you on, man. And I think what's really cool that I want to start talking about, I think it's going to be very interesting. A lot of people see what you're doing now and very excited to get very, I guess, curious about your, I would say your upbringing, your coming to your glow that the flowers you're receiving now. But you've been in the game for 8 years. 8 long years. We could round it off to almost 10, because I'm assuming when people are getting into YouTube, there's a period of you considering doing it, watching, and then seeing other people getting inspired. So it's been 8 years since you've been at this, correct?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Long time. I think one of my first videos I made was with our good buddy Mustang Dame, and it was him racing me. He was on his ZX10. I was on an S1000RR, and that was in 2012. So that's 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years.
That's exactly what I mean. I mean, like your first vlog was 8 years ago. So the other videos, which I was going to backtrack to that, which I think it's a very interesting thing. The reason I brought this up, you started riding about 23 years ago. I'd say actually 23 years to be exact. And your first bike you rode was that FZR 600. Would I say? Am I right?
How do you know? Are you a private detective in your past
Let's
time,
go,
man?
people. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
You are starting to concern me because I've seen your other Freestyle Sundays, and you have all this information on everybody. You had great information on Mr. Black Moses. Now you've got this information on me, and I'm starting to think that you're a Fed, man.
No.
Problems with the Feds. No problem. So if you are. But if you are, here's the disclaimer. You know, if you want to ride with me and do SmackDowns, you just have to tell me you're a Fed first. That way I won't have any incrimination, you know, so.
100% not the Feds, but we try to do things right. We try to make it interesting and ideal because a lot of people know who you are. They know the bikes. They've seen the glamorous lifestyle, and they don't know where it came from. So I'm starting from the very, very bottom so you can get a very general idea. I don't think there's any content that kind of paint that picture as well. I think I could do it. So I think that's where we're starting. So that was your buddy's bike, and you had a pretty good understanding of how gearing works, which you did not know how to ride, right?
No,
What? Don't laugh, man. Walk us through that. Walk us through that. Walk us through that. Come on. There's a lot more. It's early in the night.
Yeah. I you know, this is one of those cases where you know, be careful what you ask for. So I had bothered my buddy Chin. His name was Chinawat Scott. He's Filipino, and he was the chef at this Mexican restaurant that I worked at. I was a busboy, was 16, and I kept bothering him every night. Chin, let me ride you.
Can I pause you for a second? Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
Can I pause you for a second? Guys, did you catch that gem? If you caught that gem, please hit the thumbs up. If you're watching, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. He was a what? A busboy, which I was going to get to.
Busboy.
But what's dope about that, I know a lot of people see his fleet of motorcycles, and they think certain things. We're talking about the guy coming from being a busboy. So you have to respect the grind and give the flowers where it's due. Really, really dope. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, man. But yes, so this guy was the chef. I was the busboy, and every night I would bother him. Finally, he got enough of me bothering him. He threw me the keys, and then he walked back into the restaurant, just walked away. I don't think he cared if I lived, died, crashed his bike. He obviously had a great insurance policy on the motorcycle. But so I get on the bike, nobody's watching, so at least that sort of pressure was off. But then the pressure was on of, I just pestered this guy to borrow this bike. If I don't actually ride it, he'll never loan it to me again. So I kind of jumped on it, somehow magically kicked it down in the first gear and took off down the road. I had already known how to ride my sister's moped. I've been riding a moped for a couple of years before that. So I figured it was all the same. I didn't know you had to change gears or anything. So I'm riding down the street in first gear, 90 miles an hour, and the damn bike is screaming. I'm like, what is this crap? You know, so I took it for a few more blocks, and I just, you know, instinctively just kicked up a gear and sort of figured that part out. But I brought it back to him that day, and then after that, he let me borrow it every weekend after that. So
the rest is history, guys. So the reason kind of started off by just chatting up with this small little precursor story, just kind of give you guys a little context of where he came from and how far he's come within those years of riding or being introduced to motorcycles. And really, you're getting a little precursor that he didn't always have, you know, these beautiful fleets of motorcycles in his home and everything else. So all that stuff started from a very endearing place that someone has truly earned, and you have to respect. And it's one of those things you really have to keep in mind about Yves. Now, first bike, 750 GSX-R. He's a GSX boy at heart, even though he has all these Ducatis. Come on, let's go.
Oh man, that's crazy that you know that too.
What?
But yeah, it's 1994, and we had a track at the time here that was close to us, and Dunlop used to test their tires on this track. And so they bought like 10 Gixxer 750s, and they put the Dunlop tires on them, and they would have former AMA racers come out and test their tires all day. And then after they did that, they would sell the motorcycles. The bikes would have like 1,000 miles on them, and they were called Dunlop test bikes. And so for example, if the price was $7,000 back then, the test bike was $5,000. So it was a good deal. And I connected with a dealership, bought a test bike, and that was my first bike, a Gixxer 750.
Yeah. So that was super interesting. I I thought that the fact that you like Gixxers very much. I know a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, he's a black guy, he has a Gixxer." Guys, it's not even really about that. So I want to kind of, again, every single thing here is pretty strategic when we're talking about this conversation. We're talking about Gixxers, and he started using that quite a bit, and he liked it. It was a genuine passion for him of riding a motorcycle that he loved, and he was passionate about, was comfortable with. He wasn't always a Ducati guy. Eep's first Ducati was 1198R.
Yeah. 1199R. Yeah. 1199. Yep.
So he went out to buy. So okay. Let's kind of reset a little bit. He was interested in Ducati, so he was like, "I'm gonna go check out this bike out. I'm gonna ride it and see how I feel about it." You didn't like it. You felt like it was uncomfortable. The riding position was too pronounced, very race-like. The ride wasn't your style at the moment, which I can understand because in that time frame, Ducati was very raw, very like grunty machine that it requires a lot of skill to ride, and it's not something that was playful to just enjoy on the road. And after you rode that bike, right? I should be playing some of the cues on here, but we'll get to some of that. After test riding that bike, you didn't like that bike, but what was really interesting about that? That's how you got into BMW S1000RR.
Yeah, because it was a total opposite.
Yeah.
It was the total freaking opposite. So right around that time, I had my buddy Deezy, as a matter of fact, Deezy had told me in 2009 that BMW was coming out with a new motorcycle. He had read it somewhere in a magazine because there wasn't any internet stuff back then. So I went over to our Honda dealer, our BMW dealership, Sills, back in 2009, and they said, "Yeah, we do have a bike." I ruined it for you. Yeah,
it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. I went to Sills. They said the bike's coming, but it's not out yet. You can put a deposit down, which I did. And then they said, well, by the way, there's a guy that's going all around the country here showing off the bikes. His name is Nate Kern.
Yep.
This is where he'll be. He'll be at the track. Go track him down. And I did that, drug my wife out there. And my BMW 650i, I'll never forget it, which is kind of how I got the name 650E.
I was getting to that, but it's fine.
Yeah, I had a 650i, and my name is Eve, spelled I-B. So somebody put a magnetic B on the back of the vehicle, and it became the 650 Eve mobile. And people started calling it, "Where's the 650 Eve car?" So I just started using that for social media. And then I drove it out to meet up with Nate Kern. He was at a track in Pennsylvania. It was called Beaver Run. Now it's called Pit Race. This is in 2009. Met him out there, and I was a lot bigger then. I was 255 pounds, really jacked and swole. I'll never forget. I get out of the car to meet Nate, and Nate's eyes are just wide open, big, like, what is this guy doing here? Is this guy here to beat me up or something? But I jumped out, met Nate. We hit it off right at the start, and I told him that I was on a ZX10 at the time, and he was just going around the track and destroying everybody on a pre-production silver S1000RR, destroying everybody. Nobody even knew what it was. But the funny thing about that was that I was the only one there to see Nate, because BMW really wasn't promoting him being at that track or anything. The guys from Sills told me he was going to be there. So when I got there, I was so surprised that there wasn't a bunch of enthusiastic people like myself running up to Nate saying, Nate, look at this S1000. And as a matter of fact, even the people he was dousing on the track weren't paying that bike any attention. And I asked him about it. I says, Nate, what's up? How come this bike isn't getting more attention? Nobody's even seen it before. And he was like, half the guys don't even know what it is that I'm whooping them on. You know, so they probably thought it was a Gixxer at the time.
You know what I think that's interesting? It's almost like a destined thing, but I'm not a big destiny kind of guy, only because I think you have to really structure your path in order to get to where you want to go and what you want it to be. I think it's very interesting on how you mentioned Sills, BMW. That was in 2009, and you still rock with them till today for current project that you're working on, which is really amazing. Now, the other thing is that Nate showed up with that BMW, which was changed several iterations. The tail end was changed, right? Even though you ordered that bike, it's not what you got. I mean, some stuff stayed the same, a lot of stuff changed. But it was very interesting on how it's almost like current day on how you're doing press runs. You're seeing, you know, behind the scenes stuff. It was like a you know, it's like a nice foreshadow of what ended up happening with the current time. So that was really, really cool. And you know, stuff like that is just super, super interesting. And I want to play a clip here, guys. I'm gonna have you guys hang in there 1 second. Eve, hang around 1 sec. My wife was very pressed for me to kind of play this clip, and I'm gonna have to, or if not, you know what's gonna happen. When I go back in, she's gonna hit me with that ham. No, she would never do such a thing. She's a classy lady. But she said, I have to play this. I want people to get a really great idea of who he is. And we kind of fought back and forth as we were talking over everything. And some of the clips I'm going to play, some of the stuff I'm going to highlight. And I'm like, all right, fine. We're going to play this clip. And I want everybody to see it because and I think she's right. It was a really, really good call. And I think it kind of gives you a very good idea of who is Ebe and his passion for motorcycling and people and the community, guys. So let's take a quick look here. All right. You guys know I have to cue all this stuff up. So there we go.
Just to come and experience it. It's totally different. It's totally different. Wow. That looks awesome, man. Dude, why the hell did we get that? Freaking chicken. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow. I don't know. Yeah. Steve, open your mouth.
And I make them submit it to me. That's like, people were asking me, how did you get your video from the police? That's how I got it. I requested.
Oh, you know what's another thing?
That's us right there.
One night we were going.
This looks awesome. Bon appetit, guys.
All right. So, yeah.
Wow.
That was several years ago, guys. Now, the reason why I played this clip, and I think it's very important for us to kind of see, you know, the same guy that was a busboy, all right, to who he is today, or through all the years that we've known each other, very little has changed about this person. And I think that's one of the coolest thing ever. No matter where he is now or where he came from, man, we could always touch base and touch. And I think that's super, super dope. And not to kind of stay on this exact video and kind of show it, it's just really kind of give you a general idea of who you see, who you're racing down the street, or if when you see him, he's no different than you and I, and he enjoys it. Now, the precursor to that is how much you've changed YouTube. You have ruined the game for a lot of people. You've changed things a lot. Things were great. A lot of people were vlogging. They were doing their thing locally, showing their town. And it was amazing. A lot of people had a lot of great time. But you took things to this really far stratosphere where you're, you know, if you're not vlogging all around the US or all over or meeting people, basically engaging everyone, you're not doing it right. So kind of just walk us through that and let me know what's your take. Do you think that it's changed, or do you think due to yourself? Me personally, I always backtrack to you. I feel like you and maybe two other really big names has really made this transition.
Well, a couple things. First of all, that food looked really great. We got to go back to that restaurant when I come to New York this summer, please. Steve looked really young. Everybody looked super young in that video, and I was more swole. So I'm going to hit the gym. We're going to go back to that restaurant. I'm going to get Steve to shave so he can look young again. And that's what we're going to do this summer coming soon. But you are correct. To me, motovlogging in your own town got really boring. I couldn't really do it anymore. I went everywhere, and it's partially because of Cleveland, filthy Cleveland, obviously. I went everywhere I could go in Cleveland, showed all the landmarks I could show. Then we took it to Pittsburgh. We do our Pittsburgh runs. We put the drone up. We showed downtown Pittsburgh, the stadium, the skyscrapers. That was great. We've been to Columbus, Ohio. We've done that. We went to Indy to MotoGP it was many years ago. When I first got the H2, 2015, we were there. And so from that point, I just said, you know, and I want to do something. I want to bring my collection of bikes to the people. I read a lot of comments and I respond to a lot of comments because I like to be interactive with folks. And a lot of people were saying, hey, I'd love to see your bike somewhere. And so they got me thinking, well, why don't I just, you know, have a little road show? You know, take the bikes to different places so people can see them, interact with people, meet these people. it turned out really good doing that. I think that the change of scenery is great. Linking up with the other vloggers, the smaller vloggers, the larger vloggers, is great too. Because when I started, many years ago, I had linked up with larger vloggers. Jogo 101, for example, was the guy that I hooked up with in Washington, DC. Was supposed to hook up with Snowcat, my good buddy Snowcat from Canada, but I'll never forget my flight got canceled at the last minute, so I couldn't hook up with Snowcat. But hooking up with these guys, do it with Dan, made some videos with him, made some videos with Chase.
I'm very fortunate to have these type of roads in their backyards.
Nope, go right ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I wanted other vloggers, up and coming vloggers, to have access to me like those guys gave me access. All of those guys had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times the subscribers I had when we collaborated. And so I wanted it to be the same way for the other guys. And I think it's worked out really good. So now everybody's traveling and doing, out of town vlogs and stuff, which is great. But I want to take it to the next level above that. And I hope that my trend of doing things that other vloggers find interesting and that they'll want to do on their channels, I hope that continues. Starting here in May at our big meetup in Nashville, Tennessee. So I'm hoping to start another trend in Nashville. We'll see if it works.
I think it's gonna definitely work. Do you think that someone that's starting out now, do you think it's possible that they can still thrive and at least become a force to be reckoned with if they're not putting a dollar amount traveling around? Because first of all, you need a truck or a van or something that you could travel around, and also you have to factor your 9 to 5 if you have those. I think not everybody shares the same sentiment or they have those opportunities. So do you think that's something that's still doable now for someone if they're just doing locally?
Well, first of all, I just glanced over and saw a comment from my good buddy Steve, "You're not old." And Walter Byers is in the house. Everybody say hello to Walter. He is the Miami police officer, truly dedicated family man and police officer. He's been a law enforcement officer, or Leo, for over 20 years. Does a great job serving the folks of Miami. And he won our new bike build series bike 2 seasons ago, the Motorsport 2020 S1000. He's always so gracious enough whenever I come to Miami to loan us his bike so that Michael Knight, myself, Manny, and his brother, and whoever the hell else can do smackdowns on it and stuff. Walter's just a all-out amazing human being. So he's in the house. We'll say hello to him. But I think that yes, Mike, anybody can make it. Now, there's 2 things. I believe there's a thing called the YouTube lottery, which I've never hit. I think that what this lottery is that YouTube, for whatever reason, will pick a channel and they will promote the crap out of it. Meaning they will put that content creators' videos in people's suggested feed. They will just blast it all over the place. And when you hit that lottery, it's very easy for you to get more views, more watch time, and grow really, really fast. An example of a person most recently that's hit the lottery is I'm K. He definitely hit the lottery. He's at over 300,000 subscribers at this point. He's made pretty basic videos. He doesn't really travel. One of the videos that I've seen, he was in his bathrobe and just going out to his garage, walking around his bikes with a rinky-dink camera, just showing his bikes off in his garage. So that's an example, the YouTube lottery. Now, if you don't hit the lottery, then you've got to put in the work.
Yeah. And
if you put in the work, YouTube will reward you for it. And by that, I mean, I think that YouTube wants to see at least 2 uploads from a motovlogger per week. Now, there are certain genres in YouTube. What I'm talking about, I think, applies to the motor vlogging genre. I think that YouTube wants to see that the content creator is dedicated and that they're active. And I think that 2 videos per week minimum is what they want. And if you do that consistently for 5, 6, 7 months, a year, whatever it takes, that you'll eventually grow. Even if your content is weak or whatever the hell else. Now, there are other, things you can do too. You can make outstanding content.
Yeah.
There are guys out there that make great content. And when you make great content, people share it. they say, hey, they tell their friends, hey, look at this guy's video, or they'll send their friends links to the videos. An example of that is 5 Up Motorcycles. When he came out, he made outstanding content. It helped very little that, you know, he was in my videos, I shout him out and everything, but that wasn't the real reason why he grew like he did.
Yeah.
Because I've done that to other people and they haven't grown a hair. So, I mean, he made outstanding content. He made original content. He was very likable. He had a great personality on screen, and he was extremely knowledgeable about what the hell he was talking about. And so people dove into his content, and he grew really, really big for that time period, really quickly too. So, you know, there's a few ways to go about it, Mike, but I think that people can do it if they're dedicated and focused. Absolutely.
Okay.
Or if they hit the lottery.
I agree. Which I've never been lucky to hit lottery on anything. So I think it's just my nature to just grind all through it in order to make things happen. So
Yeah.
one little thing here we're definitely going to have to talk about, but you know what? Let's kind of just going to transition this real quick. Just before we talk about it, guys, I just want to kind of give you guys a quick look of Eve's fleet real quick, and then from there we'll just transition the conversation.
Hey, Mike?
Really quick. Yeah, what's up?
I saw a comment. My swollen son, Fastlane D, is in the house. I want to send a shout out to him. He makes exceptional content, very, very good material, and he's putting his money and resources where they need to be. He buys current bikes, Yamaha R1M, and he gets rid of filth bikes that don't perform on his channel. So he's definitely doing what it takes, and he makes great content.
You know, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, only because I'm realizing one thing, and I kind of suffered through this a little bit. A lot of the bikes that I purchased are bikes that I really wanted, bikes that I want. I think I'm finally getting into a space where, well, it's possibly because I have the bikes that I want and I can actually buy stuff for business, which I think is going to help quite a bit, which you've mentioned to me several times, which I should have listened, guys. Sometimes you don't, but I think things would have been different if I've listened very early on. So, yeah, so let me roll this clip real quick, and then from there we can go to the next thing I wanted to just lightly mention. Now, this is not to get anybody jealous or any kind of funny style, guys. Take a quick look at Eve's collection. I'm not going to let this run all the way through. This is an HP4. I mean, Eve, you could see these, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You would talk about them best than I can. I'm just going to let a couple of them roll through. HP4 carbon wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was my 2013 HP4. Bought it in 13. Next to it is the 2013 Panigale 1199R. That was my second bike that I had at the same time. So I was just riding the HP4 as its only bike for about maybe 2 years before the boss allowed me to get the 1199R.
That 1199R, that's from 2013, right?
Yes, that's from 2013.
And that's your first Ducati, correct?
That was my first Ducati.
And that's why you keep it around.
It was a good Ducati. Oh, yeah, I love that thing. And Manny put so many parts on it from Moto Million that actually, Mike, the parts are worth a lot more than the motorcycle. People ask me, why don't you sell these bikes? And it's like, because nobody's really going to pay you for, what you have into it. I mean, the wheels on that darn 1199R are worth $4,000. So that's like half of what the retail value is of that bike right now.
Well, I think it's just like anything else when you kind of mod any of these motorcycles and stuff. It's really for your own personal pleasure. You're really not out to kind of gain anything out of them, guys. So, this is all major passion projects. So we're talking about, the amount of money that's been rolled out on these motorcycles that you'll never be able to recoup no matter what. So it has to be something that you're really passionate about and something that you really want to do before you kind of put that kind of money out. But now, to kind of transition things a little bit, the reason why I kind of play that clip to kind of show you a little bit of a precursor to his bikes or his current collection. Again, remember, hit the thumbs up. But yeah, more importantly, remember, Busboy in the beginning. So that's crucial. right? So
Oh,
don't think
boy.
this was given. No, I want people to know this because it's really important, because I think a lot of people come off and say, oh, look at this guy, he has all this stuff, and we get a lot of that stuff on YouTube. I have a small, tiny fraction collection. I get that. So I can imagine the kind of heat that he's getting on his end. So for those of you that might not know, Ebe has a background in information technology for 20 years. I'm not going to go into super detail about personal, but just to get a general idea, he doesn't do that anymore. But that's where that came from. And I always thought that was really dope, because a lot of people we see on YouTube, they have the Lambos, they have the bikes. A lot of that money is coming from YouTube, is getting generated, which is fine. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
And I really thought it was really, really dope. At least personally for me, I took it personal when I saw Eve himself. Granted, I could say that because it's great to see someone that looks like me doing really, really well, and it makes me feel very proud. Always felt that way. I never felt anything other than pure love whenever I saw his stuff, and it made me motivated. So, again, information technology, that's where he came from, guys. So just give us a little bit of background on that and transitioning to full-time YouTube.
Yeah, man. I started out in IT in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And had a really fantastic job. Went through the September 11th attacks in 2001. And I remember it like it was yesterday, because everybody in the office was in tears. I mean, people were watching it on TV and stuff. And it was a tough time for IT right around that time. Made it through that segment. Then the next segment was 2008 through 2010. We were in a recession, and they were just slashing IT jobs like crazy. Somehow I made it through that too. Made it all the way up to 2015, I think, or 2016, and it just came to a head. Well, it was 2016, because I had just started doing press launches. The good folks at Yamaha were the first major brand to invite me to their press launches, which was great. And they had one, I think it was in Italy. Alan Lane, Mr. Lane might have been there. I'm not sure if he was there at that one or not, but it was in Italy or something. And I remember going to my boss in IT saying, hey, I need some time off because I have this fantastic opportunity to go to a press launch. And I was out of PTO time. I had already used it for other stuff, other motorcycle stuff. Because with the weather here in Cleveland, Mike, we could never really make plan ahead for a ride or anything. So what I would do with my PTO time is I would take it off like the next day. I would look at the weather on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. I would see that it'll be good weather on a Thursday, and I would take Thursday off. Well, I did that quite a few times. And when it came to the Italy press launch, they were like, you're out of time, man. You don't have any more time. So I said, okay, can I take some unpaid time off, please? You don't have to pay me for it. I just need the time off. And they were like, at the time I was a project manager in IT for a company that I'd only been with for a couple of years, or maybe even a year at that time. And they were like, well, we need you to work this project. There's nobody else that could do it. These are your guys, whatever the hell. And no, you can't have the time off. Ooh. And that was an awakening, because first I didn't like the fact that an individual could tell me that you can't do something like take time off. That didn't really sit well with me. You can't do this. It's like, really? And so we went our separate ways at that point, me and the company. And I was thinking about Mike. I was thinking, and I've always been thinking about this my entire YouTube career. I was thinking, this is my freaking moment to make a gosh darn Stradman video. I'm getting tossed out, fired from my job. Let me make a video so I can get people to pity me or blow up like Stradman did when he made his firing video. Yeah. But then I thought about it. I'm like, nope. I'm like, wait a minute. I've got like four. At the time I had 5 bikes. I got 5 bikes in my garage worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Nobody's going to give a damn that I'm getting fired or anything.
Yeah, it would have backfired, I think, if you have done it.
Yeah. Yeah. It would have backfired. That's what I thought. So I always super overthink things, but I was this close to making an I'm fired video. Didn't do that. And instead I went to the press launch and just really dove into the YouTube even more. I mean, at that time I was making 1 video a week. And with that extra time that I had away from work, I was able to pump out 3 videos a week. So, it worked out well. so to speak.
So this was like your make it or break it moment. I think a lot of people encounter moments like this, or at least miss those opportunities. Even Fasting D and I had a small conversation off camera because he has a solid career as well, and he's doing well as well, and he wants to do YouTube as well. I think it's a very, very thin line. I think for your situation, you have family, you have a home and stuff like that, for you to walk away or at least get fired. How intense was that? Like, I know you're talking about right now, you can kind of laugh about it, or you can be like, yeah, you know, it worked out perfect. Like, how do you go back home? You know, you have your wife there. It's like, nah, babe, I'm done. That great job we had that was bringing us so much money and we were doing so well, the nice fancy things, I just left to do YouTube.
It was rough because back then nobody had heard about all the YouTubers like, the big YouTubers that make millions of dollars, the Mr. Beasts or the other guy, the PewDiePies or anything like that. Back in 2015, people thought you were an idiot when you walked around selfieing yourself. And when people would ask what you do for a living, you say, I'm a YouTuber. They'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? How do you make money off that? Not that it was any of their damn business, but they really didn't understand it. So yeah, it was tough. But one thing that happened right after that was I went to MotoGP. The good folks at Yamaha gave me VIP passes to MotoGP. I think 5UP was there that year with me too. And I was in the suite, the Yamaha suite, and the president of marketing, the actual president, a really nice Japanese man that didn't speak very much English at all. One of his handlers had told him what I did, and it actually showed him one of my videos on his phone. And I saw him sit there and watch it for about 5 minutes or so. And he comes up to me and he says, great job, great energy, great energy. You have great energy, good job. And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, this really, being fired isn't all that bad at this point. I got this guy telling me that my videos are awesome. So, but what I did was I said, I'm gonna channel that. I'm gonna channel that. This guy telling me it's a great job. And I'm just gonna dive in and try to do better and broaden it and work with other brands outside of Yamaha as well, and see what makes of this. And it turned out okay for the most part.
Yeah. Guys, really, really awesome stream. At least personally for me, this is something I've been waiting to do for a very long time. If you're watching, you tuned in, quite a few comments coming in, guys. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. It's going to help with the algorithm, help with the channel. If you're not sub, make sure you subscribe. And if you're not watching Eve, I'm sure you already are, so that's kind of a given. But just kind of give you a heads up, this is my last stream in New York. I will be in Texas. I'll be attending MotoGP next week. And let me know if you guys want me to do a stream where you can see the motorcycle, the paddocks of the super bikes and stuff like that, or maybe just do a stream in my hotel. So just a heads up, you guys have an option to let me know, but I won't miss a week. And I probably won't have a guest, but I'll definitely do a stream. And super excited to be at MotoGP, man. Things are moving. I'm excited.
Yes. Yes. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Yeah, we loved it when we were there a couple times.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So, guys, we're just going to transition again. We're not going to stick on one thing. There's so much to cover. And I really think it's really cool what Ebe has been doing. So I just want to kind of play this for you guys just so you can see what you There we go. Okay. All right, guys. Hold on one second. Something really, really weird happened. I'm back. Ebe, I'm sending you that new link right now. You'll be able to join right back in. Yeah, guys, sorry, that was so strange. Like, YouTube was just not connecting real quick, but we'll get Ebe right back on. But thank you, everybody, for sticking around. And while I troubleshooted this little chaos for a second, I was this close to like saying, oh, man, I think that's it for me. I'm like gonna wrap it up because it didn't happen. So, Ebe, I just sent you that new link. Disregard the first one. The second link I just sent you, just hit that and we'll be right back to it. There you go, guys. Well, then I'm just going to take a quick look at the comment section. I'm sure you guys probably went a little haywire while you were waiting for all of this stuff, but that was a little bit nuts. I had to run to the house, check all my Wi-Fi connection or my Fios connection. Everything was perfect, but for some reason, YouTube was just like no data being sent. So I don't know why, but here we are, right back. So while Eve gets connected back to the call, I'm going to take a quick look at the comment section and see what's good with everybody. But again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. Just keep in mind, doing these streams, they take quite a bit of work. Usually you do need an operator as you're working and setting up the stream. And I'm pretty much interviewing and being the operator in the very same space. So always appreciate it. Every now and then everything works great, no hiccups, but every now and then you have a little bit of challenges, but you guys know the deal. I challenge through them and power through it without having to let it bog me down, you know what I mean? So that's the deal. There we go. Wow, that was intense, man. For a nice amount of time, that was real intense. I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be hard. But really glad everybody stuck around and allow me to troubleshoot a little bit. So appreciate that. We're just gonna wait till Eve comes back on, and then we should be good to go and get right back to it. So I have some really cool, interesting things I think you guys are gonna find very interesting to find out about Eve. Oh man, that's wild. All right, 750 Swift mention here. That was Verizon hating a little bit. They're probably hating with that Fios a little bit. Power Moto, oh yeah, back on cool. Man, Lenny Reyes, how can I get to meet 650 Eve and see your bike and take my new Ducati to ride with you? I'm from Indiana and you inspired me to get that bike. Just picked it up a month ago, 650 Eve. So really, really cool to see him inspiring people to get motorcycles that they've always aspired to. So not just only, you know, from what we were just talking about before the little weirdness happened with the connection, that he was just seeing how somebody from Suzuki saw the videos. Was it Yamaha or Suzuki? Suzuki saw the video and said he liked the energy. So that same energy transmitted to the point where other people are seeing some of these videos or getting inspired to actually buy the bike. So that's really cool to kind of see. Hang tight, guys. Let me see if Eve has connected, and then we'll get right back to it. There you go. Not yet. So hang tight. Well, then we'll just keep looking at some of the comments. I know there were a couple of gems that was being dropped as we were chatting, and I was waiting till the very end. Let's see here. See if we could pop some really good one. Life with Anna B, of course, apologizing for the delay and everything else. Always showing love, which is awesome. All right, there you go. Throw this one out as well here. 750 Swift mentioned he nearly talked me into one today. Oh, that's a reply from J Electronica. So I'm assuming you're a rider as well. So if you're getting inspired to get a bike by someone else, so I'm assuming you ride. So let me know what you ride down below, and I'd really like to find out, actually. All right, give me a quick second. Just going to touch base here with Ebe. Perfect. Let's see what else we got going on. Just when you have like this perfect groove, perfect wave, and everything's going perfect, something has to happen to kind of throw things off a little bit, but it's all good. We kind of thrive through it, whether it's difficult or it's a little bit challenging. We thrive through it, guys, and kind of make sure the stream keeps on going and not let it bog me down to the point where it's like, hey, I'm gonna wrap it up. But all right, perfect. $750 switch mentioned here, ladies and gentlemen. We're taking a quick break. 650 Eve had to give a smackdown. We will be right back. Lots of laugh. Yeah, man. I appreciate everybody just sticking around and just taking it lightly as I troubleshooted all of this stuff. So that gave me a little bit of breathing room, especially while we wait until Eve comes back on and stuff like that. He's rebooting his system as well. He just messaged me, so just hang tight and we'll get right back to it, man. All right, Fireblade Pilot mentioning I am backed up. By the way, he's a Ducati rider as well. We have a lot of riders in the building, man. I'm super, super proud and excited whenever we do these streams to see the people that come out and show love, even through adversity, something like this happening. You guys have to remember, there's a lot of gears being turned as I'm producing this stuff, so appreciate it. Fastlane D, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming through, showing love as well. What bike is next on the list for 650E? The man has it all. That's a great question. Fastlane D's asking what bike is next for 650E since he has it all. That's a tough question, man. Oh, 5UP is still in the building. Yeah, man. Don't go anywhere, all right? As good as the conversation is, as much gem that you're going to get out of this, no matter what happens or whatever technical difficulty, you want to stick around and wait for those gems. So let's just put it that way. It's worth it. And if you're watching this later, whatever gap that's in the middle, that's definitely going to go away. So you won't see it. You probably won't know this ever happened throughout the entire thing. So that's going to be a good thing. Let's see what we got here. That was kind of a weird thing that happened, though, man. I love all the jokes that's being populated from the whole point of me getting frozen. That is so wild that just happened, man. I think there's just too much energy on this stream, man. Here's a great question here. I'll just pull this up real quick. Douglas Almanzar. Who do you admire? Look up to Ebe, considering so many followers and admirers you, brother. I'm assuming that question is for me. You know what it is? As long as somebody's doing something that's positive, that's impacting people in a great way, that's always motivating to me. It doesn't have to be like a motovlogger or somebody that's getting all of this material possession or anything like that. So as long as it's something to that nature, it's always great to see, in my opinion. So give me a sec. Not yet. I'm jumping back and forth just to kind of confirm here to see if he's back. Yeah, as long as somebody's doing something that's positive and that's inspiring, you know, the person doesn't even have to have any followers. I like to take other people's positive energy to kind of run with. So that's just me, man. We also have Ebon Moore here mentioned he would like to see me stream while I'm in Austin. Yeah, so would you guys want to see the paddocks? You want to see the super bikes and stuff like that for MotoGP? Or would you rather me do a stream in the hotel kind of recapping the event and stuff like that? So there's just quite a few. I'm going to be out there. I guess it's kind of business and vacation and then motorcycles. Everything's kind of all together. So it's more like handling business on the back end and stuff like that, more motorcycle related stuff. So very excited for GP, actually. I should have been there about 2 years ago, but with the whole COVID thing happened, whatever. And it ended up pushing things quite back, but very excited for that. Let's see what else. Any interesting comments you guys want to throw up, feel free to drop them. I'll be replying pretty much to everything while Eve get everything settled. What a funny question, man. Futuristic Viper mentioned here, if you could be reincarnated into a bike, which one would you be? Which one would it be? I don't know, man. For him, maybe a Panigale. I mean, he became a super Ducati boy, and he was not a Ducati person at all. So, great to see that he is now. I mean, still not yet. It's not working. Okay. Sending you one now. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm going to send him a new link. He just asked for one. And then we'll be able to jump right back to things. There we go. It's kind of weird as I'm doing this. I have to talk just to kind of make sure. There you go. Link sent. And I'll wait for you on that. Oh, man. All right. Again, thank you all for sticking around, even though I'll kind of troubleshoot things. Appreciate that. Again, not very common. These things tend to happen, but we keep it rocking no matter what, and we keep it going, and we don't stop. And at least I don't. I want to make sure things are going good. Fastlane D mentioned it. Definitely stream at MotoGP. It'll be cool to see the behind the scenes. Yeah. I am going to have the race pass. I will have a paddock pass, and I'll be able to meet some of the racers and stuff. And if you guys want to see that stuff for sure, I'll definitely do it. I just want to make sure I'm keeping somewhat of a balance to enjoy the event and just not make it completely business and stuff like that, where it's just, you know, me being, you know, streaming and kind of making it just about showing YouTube content. So that's one of the things I'm going to try to play very, very carefully here while I'm over there. But I'm super excited, man. And also I have some big plans for the Street Fighter. I don't know if you guys saw, I had a post where I mentioned which exhaust should I get. I'm getting 2 new exhausts for the Street Fighter V4S, and I'll be updating it. If you guys want, you can definitely vote on it. It's on my YouTube community page on what you can pick and choose. I will be doing that. So, yeah, let's see what else we can pull up while then. This is slowly becoming a little bit of a Q&A also, but I'll take it for sure. Oh, so that's pretty cool. J Electronica mission here. He just got his first Ducati because of watching 650 Eve's channel, and I came from a Harley. Oh wow. That must be like a pretty weird transition, going from a cruiser style bike to a sport bike, well, a super bike style. I'm just curious to see how much you enjoy it. Any chance you might be at MotoGP as well, or no? Let's see. Let's see. Vintage Yamaha guy mentioned it. Fix it for you. My first bike was a 1990 FZ600. All right, hang tight, boys. Ebe is back. He's back in the building while I was holding the fort down. Again, thank you all for everybody that stuck around while I kind of, you know, got everything back to where it needed to be. But as I mentioned, man, it's totally worth it. Putting on each one of these streams takes quite a bit of work, so I appreciate you guys tuning in, man. There we go. We're just gonna bring him on now, which is really dope. There we go. He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm happy to be back. I thought I was canceled. I thought
Nah.
cancel culture got me for some reason. I
Absolutely
didn't know what
not.
was going on though.
Absolutely not. We keep it nice and
I mean,
classy.
I didn't smack anybody. I didn't reach across the screen and smack you, Mike. So I shouldn't be canceled.
Oh my God, that was dirty, man. You know, I'm a big
Yeah, but Mike, just keep my M1000 out your mouth.
Oh my God. Listen, I'm a big Will Smith fan until that day, man. I think that was a very classless thing that he did, man. Just to be a little bit off topic here, guys, but you know, everybody's talking about this, and I thought it was a great thing that you mentioned. Hang tight, I'm just updating that board. There you go, name is back. But we're back. We're back at it. Everybody, thank you for sticking around. Things get difficult, but we keep grinding. We keep making it happen. So
yes, always.
So just to kind of a little bit skew to what we were just talking about. We were just talking about the build series and how what you do and how you got to where you are and how you kind of sharing some of the success with everyone else. Guys, he does have a Patreon. Always hit up Eve's description and subscribe to his Patreon. I'm probably going to have a link in this stream so you can subscribe to it as well. And this is not like a means of me saying, hey, he does a Patreon and he's making money. And I kind of preference a lot of the stream by giving you guys a general idea. Ebe was who he was prior to him garnering YouTube fame and making money off YouTube. So always remember that. Don't feel like, hey, he's getting Patreon money. That's how he's doing this. So you have to respect that struggle. And I kind of structure the stream specifically. So for those of you that has a little bit of brain power, you'll see him, you know, starting from the very bottom, from him quitting his job. You'll see the transitioning period. And now he's actually not just out here to gain money from everyone. He's actually trying to help others that can't afford these kind of motorcycles to actually gain them. Yeah. So just talk to us about the Patreon and you working with Zach, the master mechanic, on putting these beautiful projects for people to win at a very, very low entry price point, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, Mike. But yeah, I got into the build series following my good buddy Jared Campisi's lead, and he followed Chase on Two Wheels lead. Chase had the wrecked bike rebuild series, which me and Jared both thought, you know, we could improve upon that. We didn't want to give away a wrecked bike with a salvage title with a couple of parts on it that could be a future issue for someone. So Jared started his build series probably about 6 months before I did mine. We were talking about it at the same time, but I was a little reluctant to do it because at the time I was traveling a lot. I was doing press launches. I was doing vlogs, street racing, SmackDowns. And that was the era where SmackDowns were just hot. If you put out a SmackDown video, it would get 200, 300,000 views. So I was making great money on YouTube from just doing SmackDown videos. And I was like, I don't really want to do a build series video, a series or whatever like that, like Jared was doing. But then I said, you know what, I'm going to try something. I picked up the computer. Well, I logged onto the computer and I went to the S1000RR forum. Remember, like it was yesterday. And I said, I'm going to reach out to one of these sponsors on the forum. And if they're all in, then I'll do a build series. Okay. The very first ad that I saw was from Moto Million. I had never heard of Moto Million. Never knew what the hell it was. It didn't have the guy's number. So I Googled Moto Million, got the phone number, called him up. Guy answers the phone on the second or third ring. And it was the freaking owner of Moto Million, Manny. And I says, yeah, I'm like, he's like, what can I do for you? I'm like, I'm a vlogger named 650 Eve. I want to do a build series. I'm wondering if you'd want to, you know, partner with me on that. And he says, what's your name? I told him 650 Eve, and he knew who the hell I was. I was impressed with the simple fact that he knew who I was. And then we just built a good relationship off that. And, you know, Manny started discounting the parts. We put them in the build series videos. Zach, the master mechanic, installed them. And it was a win-win situation for everybody, for Sills Motor Sales, because nobody on earth knew what the hell Sills was. It was one of 2 BMW dealerships in Cleveland, but it was the smaller dealership, smaller, older, family-owned and everything. And the bigger dealership, because it was brand new, and it was located across from what used to be a big amusement park called Geauga Lake, which some of us on the stream may have heard of Geauga Lake. that BMW dealership sold 10 times what Sills did at that time. 10 times, 10 to 1. So fast forward a little bit, the first build series was extremely successful. It lasted for 2 months. That was in the infancy of Patreon. Patreon was still new at the time. Patreon, by the way, loves what Jarrett, myself, Chase, whoever else is doing build series and are successful at it. They love what we're doing. We bring a lot of folks and a lot of attention to their platform. So then after that, you know, I decided, you know what, this is great. It's a win-win for everybody. I was paying Zach cash for his services, for his installs and stuff. He really appreciated that. Sills was giving me a discount at that time on Zach's services. Manny from Moto Million was giving me a discount at that time on the parts. We had Engine Ice, Pirelli at the time. Brock's Performance was our first one because we put a CT Megaphone exhaust on that first built bike. We had a lot of sponsors just chipping in, and it worked out well to the point that everyone was doing pretty good. And a little bit of the proceeds from the build series went to me, but it was basically just enough to cover my time that I put into that build series. It's a tremendous amount of time that we devote to that series. And so it worked out good. But as I always tell people, Mike, the ultimate winner of our build series is that person that actually wins the motorcycle. They have gained the most. They are getting, in some cases, a $50,000, $60,000 motorcycle for whatever their contribution was. One of the guys contributed $60, and he got a $60,000 motorcycle. So and we wanted, and that's by design. We wanted it so that the ultimate winner would be, you know, the viewer or the person that supported the build series. Everybody's pretty happy with that. So fast forward now, you know, Sills doesn't charge me at all, which is great for Zach's services, which is a savings of about $12,000 a year, considering the amount of time that Zach puts into these bikes.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
I just want to stop you for a second because I think in a lot of cases, not even in a lot of cases, in 99% of the cases, when people start hearing things like this, all they hear is, yeah, he's making money. He has a lot of bikes, right? And they're not charging him anymore. Guys, if you have to pay very, very close attention to all of these, I know it is just a stream and we're having a conversation and you have to kind of get some of the inside information about how this works and the process. Again, I was backtracked to the very beginning. If you're watching this in the middle, you know, you could see the buildup. Again, I keep on repeating because I want people need to understand this. It was not given. It wasn't inherited. It wasn't like some lucky guy. He grinded from the very bottom. You know, he had very little. Also, I'm going to talk about this right after. Eve doesn't buy a bunch of bikes because he just want to have the hottest and the latest bikes. One of the key things about him when he was a little bit younger, I found this information. You don't know how I got it. He gets bored after a good 2.5 years of having a motorcycle. So he tends to flip him around. So he's not a Ducati fanboy. He's not a Gixxer fanboy. It's basically what's the best bike that's running out that makes him feel a certain way. So that's one of the cool little gems that I had to kind of throw in there. So
yeah, but Mike, on that note too, like I said originally, the bigger BMW dealership in Cleveland outsold Sills 10 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to now, 5 years after the build series, now Sills outsells them 5 to 1. So that didn't happen by magic or by just circumstance. There is no marketing outside of what I'm doing. You know, Sills doesn't have at all any internet marketing or anything like that. So the owner of Sills recognized that, she saw that, and I was rewarded for my efforts by not being charged for that. So that's how it works. Like you said, nothing's given. Things were demonstrated. Things were actually physically seen, and after that, you know, we got rewarded for it. So that's fantastic.
And I think it's really interesting that that's happening because, guys, we're talking the whole collaboration with Sill is not something that's now. You know, Zach, you're seeing him on screen and stuff like that, which is really cool. Like I said, a little bit, maybe 20 minutes back, 2009, he was buying bikes from Sill out of his own pocket. So it's like full circle, the same. And, you know, if you guys go back to our last stream where Black Moses was on, he mentioned, hey, if you know, sneeze on the East Coast, on the West Coast, somebody tells you, God bless you. It's a small industry. Whoever you work with, you partner with, you know, if you keep good rapport with people, it might not be lucrative in the beginning, which I think tends to deter a lot of people. But as time goes by, it could become something very special if you stick with it and stick with the people you know you work with. Again, sales been basically from the bottom with you, right? What'd you say? You've been buying from them, seeing them, yeah.
Absolutely. You know, we calculated. Wait, I had a number. I forgot what it was. I just had showed Pam. I think it was 13 S1000s that I bought from her since 2010. 13, including the build bikes and my own personal bikes. So that's pretty significant. You know, I used to keep this sheet that I had that I would send out when I would try to market myself to sponsors. And it was a list of names. And at the time, it was like 15, 20 names, addresses, and dealerships of Ninja H2 owners and where they bought their bikes from because of my influences. That's physically 20 people that bought, you know, $25,000, $30,000 bikes because of my influences, because they saw a video where I said the bike was awesome, or they could tell by my reactions that bike was awesome. That's a powerful document that I would send out to the sponsors. And so at this point, Mike, now the most of my money is made from sponsorships. It's not made through YouTube or Patreon. It's made, thank goodness, through sponsorships. And that's great because now I don't have to stress out over views or subscriber counts or anything like that. I can just make the type of videos that I want to make without having to worry about the check that I'm getting from Google AdSense or, you know, or anything like that. It's fantastic. It's a great amount of freedom, and it allows me to make some outstanding videos like the one I just made last week of me being destroyed, my H2 being destroyed by my son Chris Moore.
Don't talk about that. I'm gonna bring that up shortly. Oh my God.
Yeah, people ask me why would I make such a video? I mean, why not? Because it's pure entertainment. I enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. I think the viewers enjoyed it overall. And it kind of showed what, you know, what their bikes could do versus me on my bike. So.
I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm not gonna answer to that because I have a whole clip set up about you racing and you doing roll racing. So, guys, there's quite a few fun conversation to have here. So again, thank you all for sticking around, even though we had little issues and stuff like that. But trust me, this stream is completely worth it, man. So I think it's really cool that one, the whole sponsorship thing. There's quite a few first things when we're talking about. I'm talking about you moving around a lot. You're talking about going to different states, trailering your bikes, you know, riding with people, building a community, growing through YouTube, right? Yeah. Outside of that, I think you've shown people a little bit of understanding to somebody like myself. You know, I'm really into bikes, but I'm more focused into like going fast into the corners, more like a GP guy. You know, I'm like more inspired to doing that. And I've learned a whole new appreciation for people that does road racing. There's different road racing etiquette, and you know, and you've gotten some of the nicest bikes, and you have some races you've lost. And guys, this thing, it's an art to it. I'm gonna roll a clip real quick, just so we can kind of I want you guys to see a race that Eve did here with a gentleman. But you have to keep in mind, doing these roll races, you could have a Superleggera, you could have yourself an H2 that's turbo boost. They still don't mount up to the bikes that you're racing when you're talking about roll racing. These guys buy maybe a 2021, 2022 ZX6R, something like that. Strip the bike down completely. They basically have a template to start with. This guy, I think, was really unique in the last video. You should definitely check it out on Eve's channel, where he took this brand new bike, stripped it down, okay? After stripping the bike down, he managed to make it only 8 gallon. So basically that bike is not like a full bike ready to go at all times. It was just a bike whenever he's ready to race or go against someone. You would see him bring that bike out, and then he'll refuel that bike right after. So it's just designed, could be completely lightweight. It's not really about how much horsepower you have, because he clearly had way more horsepower than he did, but he still managed to really overpowered him ridiculously when you saw this race. So let's take a quick look here, guys, and let me know what you think. You could always chime in the comment section about some of these races. And I know a lot of people mention, hey man, he buys these expensive bikes and he lose. But when you're racing these guys, it's not the same race you're thinking. You're racing somebody that's pretty much tailored for that. So let's take a quick look.
Oh yeah. That's me getting beat by my son, More Mafia there, and by Certified Rider. A double duo, yeah.
Yeah, you can see another view of this as well, man. This is just a lot.
Oh, that's an awesome view. 360 cam.
Mm-hmm. Look how fast they take off. It's just, it's almost like his H2. We're talking about an H2. The bike looked like it's standing still, guys. I mean,
oh yeah.
the bike looks like it's standing still. We're talking about an H2. This is not like a regular motorcycle that's giving you, your average horsepower. And it looks like you're standing still. So I think it's very interesting to kind of show this point, because a lot of people tend to say, oh, he buy these bikes, but he lose. There's a lot of SmackDown he's won as well, and I actually have some of the clips here. I'll play some of those as well. But in this particular situation, guys, these bikes are designed just for that quarter mile, really. All right, what'd you say?
Yeah, well, yeah, they had them set up that day, Mike, for 9/10 of a mile, which is almost a mile, but they can figure them on the side of the road. They changed sprockets. Chris Moore actually changed his chain size. He cut links off his chain. When I saw him doing that, I knew my day was done. I knew I was going to be sipping on an iced tea, licking my wounds at the end of that day. But those guys are very serious and hardcore. I take my hat off to More Mafia and to Certified Rider. Certified Rider is a legend in Florida. Just to be racing with him is a privilege. So yeah, but I outweighed those guys by 100 pounds.
Yeah.
When you factor in my body weight and the gear that I was wearing. Of course, I was wearing my Alpine Stars Tech Air jacket with a vest inside, full gloves and shoes and boots and all that. Those guys were, as you saw in the video, riding, as I would call, naked, with just t-shirts on and their skin for road protection. But and I outweighed my H2 outweighed their bikes by 100 pounds. So that's 200 pounds of extra weight. It is physically and theoretically, mathematically, Sir Isaac Newtonly impossible to beat a motorcycle like that when you outweigh them by 200 pounds. But, like I said, I knew this. And in that same clip, that same video, you see my good buddy Chris Moore refusing to race another local racer that had a bike set up just like his, because that racer weighed just 40 pounds more than him. So he didn't want to race and potentially lose over 40 pounds, but I accepted the challenge with a 200-pound weight deficit because I felt like my viewers wanted to see it. I had talked it up to my viewers for months. I told them they were going to see this, and I wasn't going to back down.
Well, I'm glad people could actually get a general idea, because I think some people tend to look at it a certain way when they're talking about SmackDown, certain bikes and stuff like that. There's just so many aspects that goes into it. And if you guys haven't met Ebe, he's a really big guy. So I don't even know which bike you're gonna get that'd be light enough. And
I can never get a bike that can beat Chris Moore, because if I got a turbo booster, he would get a turbo booster. His pockets, believe it or not, are deeper than mine. And they're deeper than 5-ups and everybody else's.
Oh, so, man.
People just need to stop playing with More Mafia and just let him have his time, which is right now, and continue to smack people around on these filthy streets. But I'm going to try to get here's what I'm going to try to do to get a victory over Chris Moore. I'm actually going to try to get him to wear Alpine Stars jacket or something when he's racing, because he's so fast and he's so light. a darn jacket's not going to make him lose. Even if his opponent's racing naked, he's still going to beat that guy. And he can make more of a mockery because he loves to make a mockery out of people when he beats them. He can make a more of a mockery, like, hey, I beat you wearing full gear. You're naked. You know, yeah, that's a mockery. So, and maybe that'll start a trend amongst the 9/10 racers and stuff like that of everyone wearing gear when racing.
Nah, I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Based on what I'm seeing, every ounce counts. I'm seeing these guys because early on I used to watch this. And I'm like, holy hell, these guys are going like triple digits. Not only triple digits, we're talking about 2 in the front of triple digits. So I think that's something that's super interesting. But I have to ask you, what do you prefer? Do you prefer road racing like this, or street riding, or track? Because you're pretty much experienced all across the board when you're riding, and I always thought that'd be something interesting to kind of hear your thoughts about, because you have the full spectrum here. For me, I ride, do some mountain riding, and I vlog, but I haven't had track experience yet, and I don't think I've done road racing. So.
No, you probably have not. No. Out of the 3, my favorite is like casually riding, like we did in Nashville on some nice back roads, without with limited racing. We had a great time because in that instance, you can ride with other folks. Nobody's under pressure. Nobody feels like they have to do sketchy things, to keep up, or do sketchy things to outshine somebody on the camera. So that's my favorite thing to do, is just the camaraderie and riding around with people and checking out all the bikes and featuring all the bikes in my video, showing all the fantastic colors, showing all the mods and stuff. Even Chris Moore's bike in my video was absolutely beautiful with the colorway of it and that freaking carbon fiber wheel cover thing that he has on the back that he said he got from George Jetson. That was pretty awesome. And people are going to see that, so, those are the type of things I'm going to feature, regardless of if that person smacks me down in a race or not. I'm still going to put that stuff on the channel because I think that it's great. I like to put stuff in my videos that I like, that I think are interesting. And I think I've been lucky so far where the viewers have sort of agreed with me too.
Yeah, I would agree. I think people just enjoy seeing some of these bikes, and they've never really experienced some of these motorcycles. So I think to them, it's a whole different ball game seeing a bike like that. This is why I had to kind of highlight it and kind of show. This is exactly what you were talking about, his motorcycle right here. You see the back wheel.
Look how beautiful that is. Look at that fuel tank, of that carbon fiber fuel tank that only holds 1 gallon. Look at the beautiful Busa type fender up front. I mean, look at this seat, the custom seat. When I saw this guy, I had a lot of respect for Mr. Chris Moore when I saw his bike. And he was like I said in this video, he had just cut some links off his chain to make it shorter or whatever the hell. And later on in the day, he had his laptop out making adjustments to the tune.
Yeah, so, right after you guys race, I saw he had his laptop just so he could change the tune. Like, this bike is basically designed just for this. Now, I do have a question, though, I want to kind of talk about. Do you find it difficult, right, going to these events now that you're known for, doing SmackDowns and being a fast boy pretty much? Do you find it difficult just going to events without people having to try to challenge you, or where now it's not fun riding with people because you pretty much pull up somewhere, you have the nicest bike, the fastest bikes, factory bikes, I'd say. Do you find people just constantly trying to challenge you and stuff?
Not at all. When I go places, there are some people that want to race, but they're polite about it. They come up to me and they say, hey, do you want to race? And if it's a guy that's like half my size, Dr. Gap size, or Dawson's Creek size, I told him, no, I don't want to race you, tough guy, because you're too small. I really enjoy racing guys my size. And there's a guy that's been giving me fits, has a YouTube channel in Detroit, Easy. People may have seen him in the videos, and he has a 2020 Hockenheim Silver, or maybe it's a 2021 or 22 Hockenheim Silver S1000 that he had, set up pretty nicely. And he beat me on my M1000 before I got the motor work and stuff. So he's my size, maybe even a little bigger. He's probably like 250 pounds or something. But it's a fair race when I race him, and I'm looking forward to the rematches with him. But I really enjoy racing the people that are my size, but they're hard to find those guys. But no, at the meetups and stuff, people are really polite. They're, they ask if they want to race. They don't just pull up next to me and try to race. I haven't experienced that in a long, long time. So it's really great at these meetups. That's why I enjoy doing them, because it's really great. And I want you to come out to one. Like I said, can have a bike for you when you come out there. It might be a ZX10, but it'll be a bike nonetheless.
I'll take it, man. Whatever I can, I'll take it. But here's the thing. I'm just gonna backtrack to the build series, guys, because I just feel like it's something that we need to highlight a little bit more. Because I think I wouldn't say for somebody like 650E that you guys enjoy his content, you enjoy seeing his motorcycles, you enjoy basically what he brings to the table as a content creator. I don't like to call him a motovlogger anymore because I feel like he's really surpassed that aspect. He's doing a lot of amazing things with companies now, which I think prior to him joining the whole motovlogging game and then transcending to something else, a lot of us were pretty much known for yelling profanity on at other drivers or doing something just for extreme clout and stuff like that, maybe a little bit classing it up a little bit, and which has garnered you quite a few accolades with brands like Alpine Stars, right, which you show a lot of their brands, and it's always subtly, tastefully done, in my personal opinion.
Thank you.
Which is a little bit different, right? So
yes.
The reason why I'm mentioning this, I think the build series are really, really cool, and I think I didn't say Chase first because I didn't want to kind of drive attention to him on your interview, but just because someone's first doesn't mean that they're the only one, and I really think it's a great approach that you guys were able to take what he was doing, because not that there's anything wrong with it, right? Because Chase will be on the stream at some point. We did talk, so stick around for that, guys. That his idea was to learn how to work on motorcycles. He wanted to I guess he kind of stumbled on making it a build series at this point because he wanted to learn how to work on motorcycles. So, and then it kind of cascaded into being its own thing. So I kind of, instead of working on brand new bikes or learning on a brand new bikes, which should be costly, I guess he started doing it with wreck bikes, hence the name wreck bike rebuild. But you guys took it and ran with the idea and made something a lot better. So the reason I kind of mention this now is, have any other manufacturers reached out to you? Because to be honest, me personally, I would bet money there's been a huge change in conversion with these companies on selling their motorcycles from what you're highlighting. A lot of BMWs, a lot of Ducati. Have anybody had made any attempt to kind of, work with you guys?
In my case, Mike, no, nobody's ever reached out to me. I do all the reaching out.
Okay.
I know that it might be different for other vloggers, but for me, I always send out the emails or try to meet the contacts. And somebody had a great question earlier. They were like, out of all the people I've met, who has been, some of the, meaningful people, memorable people. Yeah. Adam Waheed, has been outstanding. I consider him a good friend of mine. Adam Waheed is a Motorcyclist Magazine's editor-in-chief, and he's also just the top dog rider. He's an awesome moto journalist. And when I did the very first press launch, this was back, 2015 or whatever. And this was before any other blogger was doing it, as far as I know, in the United States. I walk into the room and all these motor journalists are just giving me crazy looks. They're like, what the hell is this guy doing here? Why is he relevant? Who is he? The people that did know me, they knew me from just street racing. Adam Waheed walked up to me, shook my hand, said, Eve, I follow your stuff. You do a great job, and took me under his wing. And he made everybody else, he actually physically made everyone else there be nice to me, because they weren't at first. And so, from that point on, he's just been really great, really great friend and everything. But, it was rough, in the beginning, but now it's a lot better. But no, none of the brands reach out to me. I through Adam Waheed, which is where I was going with all this. Adam Waheed knows everybody in the industry. He had sent me an email with the names of everyone, all of the marketing people for every brand. Kawasaki, Honda, Yamaha, who you name it, Ducati, BMW. He said, these are your names. Contact these people to pitch yourself to come to their press launches or get their products and everything. I greatly appreciate that. I took that list. I sent out emails to all these folks. I have a professional document that I have made up from a professional marketing company. It's called a bio. They call it something else too in the industry, but I forgot what it's called in the industry. But it basically shows all of my statistics, how I rank against other vloggers in my genre.
And your conversion, I'm assuming?
Conversions, how much the watch time is, my demographics, where people are watching from, and it's beautiful. It's a PowerPoint presentation, but it's a document, and it's all colorful, and it's excellent. And what that did was, when I sent that out to the marketing people, I basically did their job for them. They did a couple fact checks to make sure that what was in that document was accurate, but it also had the name of this professional marketing company on it, so they trusted it. What those guys did, they just copied and pasted that document, took it to their bosses, and says, I have a guy that we should work with. Their bosses thought that document came from them. So it was a win-win. They looked good in front of their bosses. I eliminated a lot of work for them, and it worked out well.
And you get through the door.
And I got through the door because of that. Other folks that tried it, they would try it by sending these people an email saying, hey, I'm XYZ. Can I have your products, please? And these people would tell me about it. They were like, dude, this other guy sent me an email demanding products with no documentation, no anything. And I basically just threw it in the trash. So, you know, that document and Adam Wahid was really a big thing for me initially getting through the door. Now, having said that, there are some companies that I reached out to that never even gave a damn about any of that. One of them was Kawasaki. And I was surprised and sort of felt the sort of way about that until I had a conversation with Jason Britton a few years ago. And I realized that he is the man at Kawasaki. He's pretty much the only one that Kawasaki really wants to work with, and that's fine.
I wonder why is that? Which is very interesting to me.
Yeah, Jason, he goes way back. He put the freaking work in, which I believe you should. Jason put in the work 2 decades ago with Kawasaki. He told me the story, and I actually recorded in the video that I never produced. He was at a show or something, EICMA, a motorcycle show. Walked over to a female that was the head of marketing for Kawasaki, pitched himself to her, just like like I was talking about, and somehow he got through the door. And that woman has left Kawasaki, but she hand delivered his portfolio to her replacement, and he's always going to be in the door. His H2Rs, his H2s, all of his stunt bikes, all that stuff's free from Kawasaki. When I found that out, I said, okay, I'm going to leave Kawasaki alone because this is Jason's thing. He's a cool dude. He invited me into his home, told me all the ins and outs of the industry, and I didn't feel like I should pursue Kawasaki anymore after that, even though at the time, this was 2016, I think it was, my H2 at the time was pretty much the only freaking H2 video on YouTube, my series of videos in 2015. Nobody had H2s back then besides me and Ricky Gatson, but his were all Kawasaki corporate. You couldn't find any SmackDown videos, nothing of the H2 besides mine. And like I mentioned earlier, I had that list of 20 people that bought the bike because of that. So I kind of felt like Kawasaki should give me some sort of discount or something, but when they didn't, and when I talked to Jason, I left it alone. Moved over to BMW, to Yamaha. Yamaha has been absolutely great. They're a fantastic company. They get it. They get social media. They get everything. They're a fantastic company. BMW.
That's a really interesting gem, I think.
Yeah.
Only because again, if you watch this all the way through, I feel like you get a general idea of who Ebe is, and then why you would walk away. Which I didn't even have to question when you said after you spoke to Jason, and then you see that he works for Kawasaki. You don't question it. You don't ask anything. You just let it be, which is really dope.
Yeah.
I think in most cases, some people would say, "Hey, man, I help you sell 20, 30 bikes, and this is what I do." You keep on pursuing, which is kind of very honorable, man. I'd say.
No need to be greedy, man. I've had this discussion with some other bloggers, and I've said, hey guys, don't be greedy. And that's just my philosophy on it. Am I in this to get super rich? No. Um, could you make a lot more money if you're super greedy and if you step over some toes? Yes. But at the end of the day, how are you going to feel about that? And I wouldn't feel good about a situation like that where, something happens and there's only one person that they could choose from and it's not the right choice or whatever the hell. So there was plenty more opportunities out there, and it worked out great in that instance. Um, I think it's a really good. I think the moral kind of that story is to when you get a leg up or you get some good advice, like Adam Wahid gave me the names of the people and he kind of helped me get through the door for the press launches. Run with it, but don't at the same time. Don't be spiteful. Don't be disrespectful. Don't step on people's toes. If you see something like the Jason Britton situation with Kawasaki, step back and let it go and move on to the next company. So
He's one guy I think is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna try to get him on the stream, and I think it'd be a
he'll
great
be on.
conversation.
I've already mentioned you to him. He said he would do it.
Uh,
You just have to reach out. If you need me to give you his numbers, I will.
All right. I
But
think
he'll
he's going to be a
definitely-
really interesting person to have on because he has history with you. He has history with Black Moses. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think there's some really cool thing about this guy that we can talk about also. But
He's phenomenal.
I want to ask you this thing. I think it's a new thing that's changing with motovlogging also. The fact that a lot of people are either moving away from motovlogging completely, or some people are transitioning to something bigger or something that's a little bit more well-rounded. But I'm seeing a lot of people moving towards motorcycle journalism, which you lightly kind of touched on. And I know a lot of the professionally trained guys that are certified journalists feel a little some type of way when we're talking about motovloggers joining that realm or making videos. Because I know a lot of these guys write articles and stuff like that. And based on your experience, you said it ended up working out great because of Adam Wahid. But if that wasn't the case, how would it be? Also, have you seen a bigger shift? Because I know we're seeing a lot of Harley invites. We're seeing a lot of Triumph invites. We're seeing who else? Even Ducati's doing somewhere with all girls, or where they had a couple of regular guys, or even 44 Teeth are going to some of their press events now, where it's become more of a norm. Do you see that becoming the new wave of journalism, motor journalism, Ante?
I don't think so. I think that 44 Teeth is a unique case because, those two guys have a background. The one guy, the bald guy, forget their names off the top of my head. The bald guy, Egan, I think is his name, Fagan or something. He used to be a BSB racer or something. So he had all the contacts from the brands from racing their bikes. I think he was a test racer after that. And then the other dude, he has a very good business savvy. So he's the one that can bird dog all of the opportunities that are out there. And also they get lots of views on their videos, and both of them are excellent riders. So they got all the boxes are checked in their cases. And they're also in the UK, which things operate totally different. Yamaha, for example, BMW, Ducati, Aprilia, they're all different from the USA to the UK.
Okay.
So just because, if you go, that's why you might have seen 44 Teeth came over to the Ducati Multistrada Pikes Peak press launch as an invite from Ducati USA, not Ducati UK.
Okay.
But they're different. Even Lamb Chop Rides. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah, he gets to go to press launches and stuff too. And he's a smaller channel, just 90,000 subs or something. But it's totally different in the UK. Now, here in the US, it's still weird, I think, because motovloggers still have to fight for the opportunity to go to these press launches. And in my case, except for Yamaha, they're pretty much the only company that gives me a blanket invite to most of their press launches. The rest of them kind of have it on a cycle. I know that Ducati has it on a cycle where they go through different motovloggers, trying to give everyone an opportunity, or trying to see who's going to get the most views or whatever. I think that at this point, I think that certain motovloggers should be in the mix, like the motojournalists are. But I also think, to your point earlier, and I know that you and Mr. Black Moses talked about this a couple weeks ago, I don't think that everyone is qualified to offer their opinion or to do anything like that.
That's true.
I do think that if a brand is looking for views out of a video, there are certain vloggers they can invite to their press launch that is going to get them the views. But here's the thing. Are those views going to turn over to what they really need, which is conversions, which is people buying the motorcycle because that vlogger said so? And the answer is probably not. That is the difference between a motovlogger and a social media influencer. And I think that I'm more of a social media influencer than a motovlogger. And it's a fine line that you have to walk to be in between those two. And it's a choice that you have to make. Some people want to just be a motovlogger. They want to get all the views on YouTube. They want to get popular. They want people to know who they are. Some people want to be social media influencers where they can get paid from sponsorships and they don't have to worry about YouTube views or anything like that. So it's just two ways to me. For me, I'm on the social media influencer side.
Well, the thing is for you, I think with your business background, you bring something a little bit different to the table. Not just, I think most people that are coming into the YouTube space or social media, it's more clout chasing for views and a small conversion of CPM money, right? Yes. I think your overall look, you tend to have, which I struggle with this myself. And I think, again, guys, if you're watching this, there's so much gems here, so much information that's being put out publicly on this stream. Definitely hit the thumbs up. And nobody's going to tell you any of the stuff that you're hearing here or even some of the inner workings on how it is. So that's one of the beauty of being around other people that's very successful. It can share some of the information. You know what I mean? Yes. They can actually help you get to where you want to go. So you're very in tune in having your ears to the ground, no matter how high up you've reached. That's the one thing I've noticed. Where, for example, your thumbnail, if you look it through your whole layout, right, you could see as time is changing, temperature of YouTube is changing, that whole structure is changing. The pacing of your videos are changing. The smackdowns are changing. The traveling is changing, which keeps your content very current because it's very easy for you to become last year's news on YouTube. Oh, yeah. If you're not watching very carefully. It happens to a lot of really big channels. I'll give you an example. Snowcat. Snowcat was hot as lava. And it was the same thing, rinse and repeat, and it was keeping on going. And it's not just him. There's quite a few more that falls under that category. They never really evolve as time goes by, and you just left by the wayside. I think you do that extremely well. So just kind of just enlighten us on that, man. I mean, you could see it really. And again, most people won't see it if you're not in YouTube. If you're just a viewer, you're just watching, that's different. But if you're in it, you're studying it, you're watching analytics, you're trying to learn, you're trying to grow yourself, you start seeing what some of the greats are doing. You know what I mean? So just let's talk about that.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, I think that, you know, for me, it's easy because with having the modern bikes and stuff, the new bikes that come out, take the CBR 1000 RRR Fireblade SP that just came out last year. Mm-hmm. When you get a modern bike like that, you have to do modern things with it. I had to take it to a modern city, Nashville. You know, I had to show different things in Nashville. I had to ride with different people. I had to show Nashville roads and that beautiful dam that they have there and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't have had the same impact with that motorcycle if I just rode it around filthy Cleveland and everybody saw the same salt, filthy, infested roads that I ride on all the time. It would not have been the same. You know, same thing with, you know, taking bikes to Miami and stuff. There are a lot of global, you have to think globally. There are a lot of global viewers that watch our channels that don't get to see the United States, you know, and I want to show them lots of parts of the United States. You know, I've shown them California. I've shown them Jay Leno's garage and hanging out with Jim Caviezel. And I've shown them, you know, in Texas, racing with I was going to say Mr. A-hole by nature, but racing with him. Yeah, racing with him and his guys. I've shown them hanging out with my son, Evan, in Boston, you know, and having eaten crab cakes in Boston. I've shown them New York City with you guys, riding Bear Mountain, filthy Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago even. So that's what I think the viewers want to see. If you could, you know, put these motorcycles in places that, you know, they're going to say, hey, this is a town or city that I'm not used to. and it also helps that he's got the newest bike in this particular town. That's fantastic. And on top of that, doing things with the bikes, doing things that making content that I truly believe in and I would want to see myself. Taking the CBR to Bryn Tuning so that Bryn Tuning could show us how he was one of the first companies to unlock the ECU, what that took, what the delta, the change in the horsepower and torque was. That was phenomenal. And that's also another relationship that I've had for over 10 years. Brendan at Bryn Tuning, was working with him when he was very, 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 very small. I was very, very small. We worked together well, and now he's huge and I'm at a different level, and it's fantastic. So I think that, keeping up with the modern stuff, showing dynos, showing different cities, showing different people, showing the folks, the up and coming vloggers, the Fast Lane Ds, Moto Max, and Reaper 1Ks, and Dude Mungus is out there. Showing them all that is amazing too. And it gives those guys a platform they can shine on, and as long as they continue to create and produce awesome content, then they'll have a future. I've always said though that for me the end game is not YouTube. I do want to step away from YouTube, obviously, at some point, sometime sort of soon, actually.
Wow.
As my kids get older, they're 9 and 7 now. I really don't want to be the guy out there doing smackdowns when they're like, 15, 16, able to ride bikes and, not putting forth the best example for them. I think that there's other things that I can get into that I'm going to be working on here real soon. Some fantastic opportunities, and I think that it'll continue to open the doors for the other up and coming vloggers, for them to have the platform for themselves.
Guys, you heard this first here on my channel. I can't believe you just said you're probably gonna step down, but the minute you said it, and then the context you said of you might stopping doing specific type of YouTube runs, I didn't want to kind of bring family into it because I'm trying to keep it light, at least for YouTube. Yeah. I'm like, knowing Ebe, I'm sure he's thinking, I don't want my kids to kind of start doing this thing, thinking that if dad's doing it, it's cool, I should do it too. So you're trying to lead by example. That's what I'm assuming. If I were a betting man, that's what I'm guessing. But I'm really curious to see where you end up taking this, and I'm so glad you kind of mentioned it as well. For those of you that are not aware, Ebe has been doing a lot of things that are very different and unique in the motovlogging realm. Almost not motovlogging. For example, he's met with the freaking great what's his name? Caviezel. You met him also,
Jim Caviezel.
But you were also with what's his name? Jay Leno.
Jay Leno. Yeah.
Jay Leno. That was huge, man. I mean, I saw that. I thought that was a really, really cool thing. And again, every time you think that you've caught up to what you're doing or the idea, the concepts that you're doing, you bump into something like that. So I thought that was really, really mind blowing when you met up with Jay Leno. How did that end up happening, and how did it end up working out? And better yet, is he a nice guy? Because we see a lot of people smacking people because of their wives. We thought that they were nice guys, but apparently they're not nice guys.
No. Jay won't be smacking. He almost smacked me for using the wrong restroom at his garage, but he politely told me to go into the other one. But no, he's a really nice man. I met him through Jim Caviezel. Jim has been following my channel for many years. He was working on a series called Person of Interest, which was a top-rated show originally on ABC, I think it was. Then it was syndicated. But he was, he's known for the movie The Count of Monte Cristo, an amazing classic movie that I have to sadly say I had not seen before I met him. And he was like, "You haven't seen The Count of Monte Cristo?" He put it on at his house and on his big screen. And that movie's a classic. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's timeless. It's one of those timeless movies. Caviezel's in it, and so is Guy Ritchie's in it, and other people. But anyway, Jim was working on the series Person of Interest, and during his breaks, while he was supposed to be studying his lines, he was watching my SmackDown videos. And he said, "Yeah, who is this guy?" So he sent me some messages that went into my spam and all that. I never saw them. That went on for about 6 months. Then he reached out to this really, really powerful guy here in Cleveland named Steve Vinny. Steve Vinny knows everybody in Cleveland, the Bernie Kosars, everybody that's somebody, Steve Vinny knows them. And just so happened, Steve was a track guy, and I had met Steve at the track. And so I knew Steve, a very wealthy, powerful guy. And Jim Caviezel reached out to Steve and said, hey, can you get me in touch with the 650 Eve guy? And Steve says, I got his number right here. I'll text him. He texted me, says, hey, Jim Caviezel's trying to get a hold of you. I says, oh, what the hell? I replied, and we hit it off. We're roughly the same age. I'm 48, and I think Caviezel was 50, so we're around the same age. Share some of the same interests. He's a devout family man. He's super religious. I'm religious also, but our religions couldn't be further apart from each other. But when I spent that week with him in California, that was never an issue. He embraced my religion. I embraced his. And it was a fantastic thing. And I think that the thing that we had in common was that neither one of us desired to go to a strip club or anything like that because of our faith or because of our families or anything like that. And I think that he appreciates that he's able to ride with me without me trying to take him into a bar or take him into a place that he wouldn't want to be. And I respect the same thing from him, that when I was out there, I didn't get drug off into some Hollywood crap. So it was amazing. So from that point, after I got up there to California, he says, you know what, man, because, he didn't really know me. He knew me from the videos, but he didn't know me. So before I went out to California, he says, Eve, I'm going to need you to sign this background check document and something. I'm like, for what? Just to hang out with you? What the hell is this? And he was like, no, it's not for that. It's for something else that I'm working on. If you could just sign it and let these guys give you a background check, I'd appreciate it. I signed it, didn't think any of it. He didn't mention it again. I think that he was waiting to get a feel for me when I got out to California. When I got out there, after spending like 2 days with me, he says, hey, we're going to go somewhere tomorrow. Let's just go. And we pull up to this freaking near the airport. I'm like, where the hell are we? It's near a damn airport. And it was a gate. And out from the gate comes Jay Leno in his typical jean outfit, jean pants, jean shirt. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because Jim Caviezel and Jim are best friends. I had to sign that freaking background thing so that, people come into his hangar. There's all sorts of stuff lying around. There's like freaking Breitling watches lying around and $100,000 watches that he has on display. So obviously he doesn't want some thug life criminal in his garage, that's going to take one of his trinkets or anything. So that was what the background check was all about. And Jay just immediately welcomed me in there. And I was surprised because Jim didn't tell him that I was going to be filming. And the first thing I said to Jay was, hey, dude, can I please film this? He was like, why not? Go ahead. And if you see the video, that's where I started. I hastily grabbed my phone and started filming my phone. I had a professional mic set that I put on Zach the Master Mechanic, a freaking that your buddy recommended to me, the Fobra. Recommended. It's a Comica mic set that the Fobra told me to get because he made a video about it. And I wanted to put that freaking mic on Jay, but I was in such a rush. It was such a last minute thing. We just did it with no mics. And that's why it's kind of, the voices are kind of low and stuff in the video. But that was an amazing experience. And Jay really loved the bikes I brought. I brought 3 Ducatis there, my 1199, my V4R, and then Jim's Superleggera. I had those 3 bikes in the trailer. The intention was, that Jay could ride one if he wanted to, but he had just had hip surgery, so he couldn't ride a motorcycle. But that event was amazing. He did tell me that I could come back out when I get my Z06 C8, and he would check that out too. So maybe that might work out this year.
It's like we're like gelling. It's crazy. That was gonna be my transition talking about cars, because I know you mentioned that you might be stopping probably with the bike, or at least slowing down things a little bit so you could change the tone. And I thought to myself, maybe he might go towards the car, because I know you bought the new Vet. And do you foresee yourself transitioning towards doing cars?
Not at all.
No?
The car genre to me is more effed up than the motorcycle genre. I learned the hard way that in the car genre, clickbait is not only accepted, it's the norm.
Mm.
If you're not doing some kind of clickbait, nobody's going to watch your videos. I saw all these guys get C8 Corvettes and make these stupid videos. The 5 things I hate about my C8 Corvette. They would get massive views, and you look at the video, and it's a guy talked about the cigarette lighter is in the wrong position, or something really stupid. It's like, and then other people doing clickbait talked about they got the first Rapid Blue C8 when it wasn't even out yet, and what he did was he actually wrapped a white Corvette. That really pissed me off, because I think that clickbait is a waste of the viewer's time, and everybody's time is precious. I know that for the younger audience, for the kids that watch videos, they don't give a damn about their time because they're wasting their time mostly anyway. So they don't mind the clickbait, but I have a real issue with clickbait, and so I won't do any car videos or be a car vlogger because clickbait is just not cool. I mean, I will tell you this though, Haggerty with Jason Camisa makes the absolute best car videos on YouTube right now. Haggerty videos. If you have subscribe to Haggerty, they make the absolute best videos on YouTube right now. And it's no clickbait. It's all just stuff you want to see, comparisons, reviews, and stuff like that. But I don't have the resources to make any sort of Haggerty type videos. So I'm going to just chill out trying to be a car vlogger. I mean, I'm trying to do something cool with the truck, with the truck stuff, because I think the truck genre is pretty cool. And I think there's a space in the truck genre for what I can offer, which is, building a truck up to be, pretty awesome with great parts and stuff like that. High level parts. I think there's a space for that, but no to the car vlogging genre.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we had this running a nice length, I think, for everybody. I just want to kind of, start wrapping it up. That way we don't keep everybody here all night. Hopefully you guys are good with that. Because the last one I did, everyone was pretty pissed because I was shutting down. I have people message me a little bit, but we got to try to be respectful about people's time and other people that works on Monday morning and Eve's time as well.
Yeah. Well, I'd be more than happy to come back to return for a part 2 or something, man. And I really wish that I would have been able to come out to MotoGP, because I think that would have been a good opportunity for us to do some more chatting. I think that Jason Britton will be there also if he's not doing something else. Perhaps you can liaise with him when you get out there. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'll try to link up with him. Hopefully we can kind of get him on the stream. But I'm going to ask you this first. And then, of course, guys, if you have any questions, you're tuning in, you're watching this later, definitely hit the thumbs up. I repeat it only because people might jump around or watch this later or just listen to it. But if you had any advice for anybody else that's starting out, because I think you've inspired a lot of people to join the motorcycle game, and even so much so that there's a new wave of New York riders that are just starting to motovlog. I think even MotoMax is part of that new wave. Yeah. And I think a lot of these guys, they're all coming from the school of 650 Eves. So
that's awesome.
What would you recommend, or at least best advice that you can give to someone that's starting now, 2022? It's difficult, it's challenging, it's pretty much a lot of people doing the same thing. So what tips would you give? I'd say
the best advice I can give them is to just be yourself. YouTube means you too. It's yourself. Be yourself. Don't change. Put yourself out there. And I think that, if you've got some good content, you've got good personality, you've got energy, not fake energy, but real, authentic energy. I think that viewers can see through the fake energy. I think that's what killed the first wave of vloggers that we talked about, such as the Do It With Dans and the all those guys. I forgot some of the Jogo 101s and the even my good buddy Snowcat, all those guys. I think that fake energy finally, gets to people and they just won't watch. I think that if you're unique and you're authentic with your vibes and stuff, and you show stuff that you think is cool, that you think your viewers might want to see, make an investment in great equipment. I think that everybody's doing that at this point. Everybody's using GoPro Hero 10s with stabilization. Everybody's using drones, great drones and stuff, and everyone's using great music. I think that if everybody just does their individual self, there's plenty of room. I used to use this analogy, Mike, and that was, when the show was on, one of my favorite shows on TV was Game of Thrones. Okay.
Until the end.
And I didn't mind the end either, but yeah, that was controversial.
Okay,
but here's the thing: when it was on, I don't think that anyone would have not watched a spinoff of, like, the little midget guy, Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah.
While that was, nobody would stop watching Game of Thrones and start watching a spinoff of Tyrion Lannister because Tyrion came on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They would watch them both. And that can apply to Breaking Bad, another show. You would not watch Better Call Saul because Breaking Bad is on. You wouldn't say, "Oh, there's a new show called Better Call Saul on. I'm going to stop watching Breaking Bad." That's not how it works. So just because I make videos and Fastlane D comes on, I don't think that the majority of my subscribers say, "Hey, wait, there's Fastlane D right there. I'm going to stop watching 650E."
Yeah.
I don't think it works that way. I think that they watch them both, and they welcome even more opportunities. The same thing that I mentioned with Haggerty. If there was a car show that was on the level of Haggerty, dude, I would sit my butt down and watch that show as well. But there isn't. So I don't have that issue.
You know what's so funny? I mentioned this to Fastlane D last interview we did, that I feel like that was one of the biggest misses in motovlogging, where I think a lot of people that was really lit in that time frame, they felt like if they help others, which I think would have made motovlogging a lot bigger, and I think there'd be more perspective, and I think there'd be even sooner in the realm of moto journalism. But it was more like, hey, whatever that I know, or whatever, following that I have, I'm keeping it to myself, almost to the point that some guys kind of just fell off completely, or got fed up with the struggle to try to make things happen and just fell off, which is a rarity that you're seeing, that people are trying to actually come. And the weird thing is, it's not just it's not everywhere else, because in the Harley group, I see it's very different. In the car scene, I see it's very different. I think it's something that's very motovlog driven.
It is, sir.
That,
and it needs to stop. I tried to stop that by leading from example, by welcoming all the other vloggers into my space and everything, into the videos, into my meetups, and I think it kind of worked for the guys that are in our immediate circle, right? The Fast Lanes, the Motomax, the Reapers, our good buddy from Texas, I can't remember, Jack Be Quick. And all those guys, we're gelling together. But then you have the guys out on the West Coast. You have the Max Wrists, the IMKs, and those guys out west that try to stay in their own little silo, as far as I know.
You're saying this, okay? I know your vibe. I've seen where you're trying to welcome everybody, whether they're big or they're small. I remember you went out into Cali, and what's this dude's name? He doesn't do motovlogging anymore. And he came in fast and hot, and he was lit for a short period of time, did well, and quickly transitioned to like doing like him and his girl, and then he bought a Lamborghini and stuff like that. So he quickly, what's his name? Somebody in the comments.
I know you're talking about my good buddy, the young guy. Yes, I know what the heck you're talking about. I haven't even seen.
I can't remember his name. What is his name? Shit. I think he's Filipino and black.
Yes, that's him. Snooge.
There we go. Snooge.
Yeah.
And I remember you introducing yourself to Snooge. This is just kind of preference about the whole like motovlogging. Everybody has like their own little. It's kind of weird. I remember you introducing yourself to Snooge, and you were huge, and Snooge was not huge at all. And it was, maybe I read into it wrong.
You didn't. He basically told me to fuck off.
Yeah, I read that. I was like, holy shit, on video. He didn't literally say those words, but the vibe, you could read someone's body language. I'm like, did this motherfucker just snub Ebe?
Yeah, he did, and I didn't mind it.
Oh man, I was mind blown, and I was like, "That's motovlogging. Welcome to." Ah man, I was really taken back when I saw that, and you still took it with stride and had a good time, and it was still a good video. But then, I don't know if nobody saw it, nobody commented or anything like that. But then again, everybody tend to kind of keep their head down, kind of thing, not say much or whatever. And I remember he was probably not even under 1,000, but he was going quickly. And I think you were what? I don't know, but you were far out already. You were already in the stratosphere.
200,000. It was around 200,000.
Yeah, and it was a
yeah, the vibe, but I think that was that West Coast vibe that I'm talking about. I mean, it's kind of different out there. It's kind of this. It's very standoffish. It's not as welcoming. It's kind of like, what are you doing in the great California, sort of thing. I don't know, but it's not like that here in the Midwest and where we go. We just had a huge meetup here in Miami where all the vloggers were down there, and everybody was having a great time, sharing footage, being in each other's videos, having a great time, man. So it does not have to be that way, and hopefully those guys will come around and see it, a good way. Another vlogger that we haven't talked about is Mr. Black Moses' cousin or nephew, I believe it is. And that is that's what's his name again? I forget his name. Top of my head.
His videos always populate on. He's all over my feed, man. All over. Killer Cam.
Killer Cam, and I met him at a track day. He's a cool young kid, handsome kid too. And I'm like, what I said to him was, I was like, dude, why are you hiding your face? No homo or anything, but you're a handsome dude. He's got great hair. He's tall. He's, everything. I'm like, take that stop hiding your face and show your face, because at this particular event I was at, it made it difficult for everybody else to film around him, because when he had his helmet off, you couldn't film the kid. And if he was if he was standing by something that you wanted to film, you have to edit that out of your video and stuff. I'm like, dude, just show your face for Pete's sake.
Well,
that was,
I think down the line, I would try to get him on, at least, I guess, if he ends up showing his face and stuff like that. I'm reaching out to pretty much anybody, just because it's not really just trying to get everybody that's popping or not. It's just really a conversation, really. I want to kind of humanize people that watches these motorcycles, but I think in Killer Cam's case, the type of riding he does, it's almost like the Smackdown and stuff like that. And it's very aggressive, a lot of wheelies, which is what's the entertaining factor about him. Very, very fun personality. But I think he's trying to go ahead.
He is an exceptional advanced level track rider. He is a very good track rider. He probably learned that from his uncle, Mr. Black Moses, but he's a very good track rider. He killed it at the Aeriel track day we were at. And it's like, he's got everything going for him. It's time for him to show his face and take it to the next level, for sure, for him.
Well, I think in cases like his, I think it's very difficult for companies to kind of work with someone where they're just, I think there's a barrier when you're becoming a public figure at some point. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation, because we're talking about it could be a professional world thing where he doesn't want to show for work or something like that, or for school, and then the kind of riding he does in the street. There's so much that comes into play into this, but I think when you're going like full throttle, you're talking about sponsorship, big brand deals, getting flown out to events and stuff. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to MotoGP for motivation. I gotta have my helmet on in Texas degrees.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Can't do it.
Like, what happens then? I think they
won't even invite you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a slight disconnect there. I've noticed a lot of the girls don't have any of that stuff, because they know better if they're doing it for business or if it's just something for fun. But that's a whole other conversation, I think, that we can get into. Yeah.
Cool dude though. I mean, so we've talked about pretty much the majority of the vloggers that are out there right now trying to do their thing, and I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. I'm definitely looking forward to what the future of this genre has to offer, the motovlogging space. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be great. I'm going to continue, for the time being at least, to put my content out and show the different bikes and stuff and how you can modify them and make them amazing, the power differences on the dyno between the bikes. I really enjoy my dyno videos, the way that they show the bikes, the same day dyno comparisons, which, by the way, is the only way to dyno a motorcycle. To do a dyno comparison is to compare those bikes on the same dyno the same day back to back. You can't really say this bike made 200 horsepower on this dyno 2 weeks ago because the temperatures and the atmospheric pressure and all that stuff has changed. But yeah, and more meetups for me, more amazing things are going to happen at the meetups. I think it's going to be a fantastic time. I think that people that come to our meetups are really going to enjoy it, and it's going to be fantastic.
All right. We did touch base a little bit earlier about me going to more events, man, and I told you I'll tell you. Like I said, I'm trying to get a transportation system. It's just buying a car now is like bad. It's not that great, but I am gonna be moving around, man. Like, you know, totally inspired me to kind of not just ride New York. I'm gonna be trailering my bikes all the way around. Hopefully, my super bike can be part of it soon, and I'll just take the Hyper, something comfortable, and really just join all the rides and just meet up everybody too, man. So that's definitely something that's in the works. Hopefully, things will get better soon in terms of the market.
I'll tell you this, Mike. Once you do it your first time, you're going to be hooked, and you're going to do it all the time. It happened to all of us bloggers that do it. Once we traveled the first time and we saw how cool it was, and the different roads, the different foods, different people and stuff, everybody wants to just do it now. People message me every day, when's the next meetup? When's the next meetup? When's the next meetup? And on that note, some people ask, how do we choose the locations that we choose? We have to make sure that the location has good hosts. So if people reach out to me, good people, good hosts, they need to know their area, know where we can get good rides in at, where we could secure great hotels and safe neighborhoods at, and things like that. It's a whole process that we go through. And that's sort of why we tend to use some of the same cities over and over again, like Miami and Nashville and Atlanta and Alabama and stuff like that. We're going to do Boston. We're going to go visit Sir Evan of Boston here soon. Because once we know what the setups are, the hotels where people won't get their property stolen, places where people can eat healthy foods and stuff, and foods that are specific to that city, not chain restaurants. We always like to hit up the places that are specific, and then we have good hosts to take us around. That's what we're looking for when we're talking about the cities we're going to come to. I love to expand out and do other cities, but I definitely need those hosts to reach out to me and show me what the plan is, so to speak.
All right, guys. So right now, I'm just gonna go through the comment section. Eve, you will be you're gonna be off the screen, but you will be able to answer some of the comments also, and that way we can kind of wrap up, guys. I know there's quite a few comments coming on, guys. If you have any questions for Eve, right now would be the time, because I am going to be pulling those up, and then we could kind of reply to pretty much the majority of you. That way we can wrap up the night. I know it's been going on for a long time, but the conversation was definitely really cool, and I think there was a lot of gems. So I think it would be a total miss if I were to say, oh, let's just dip out. So, but I have held him long enough. Hopefully we can get
That's all good.
more people to come through and be part of the stream, guys. So let's take a quick look here. Usually I start from the very top, but I think there's a lot up top, so I'm going to be mindful about that here. So I'll just kind of pick and choose here. Eb, if you spot any comments that are great, you want to let me know to pin up. I'll pin it up as well. That'll be able to help. So Futuristic Viper, a usual suspect that watches all the time, asking Mike, any plans to try to get Psycho Cruiser on the show? He doesn't even show who he is, dude. It would be impossible to get him on here.
And he's a bit of a hater too. He's in Cleveland with me, and he's been hating on my channel for many, many years. So I don't think his vibe and his energy is befitting Mike's awesome podcast.
Man, I think so. You said he's been hating on your channel, because I know you were pretty polite to him before. If you look at some of Eve's really old video, you've actually kind of lightly mentioned him, like in a positive light, like that it was cool that you were starting off new and he was out there too. So somebody's on your bad side, man. I'm sure it's for a good reason, because very few to little people actually are on your bad side, brother.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. We have Vintage Yamaha guy here. I'm definitely into being hospitable and welcoming until I'm given a reason not to. After seeing this, I have more respect for Ebe. And that's the whole point
that's
of
awesome.
the stream, guys, for you to get to know who some of the people that you're enjoying, you're watching. It's not just some douchebag speeding down the highway. There's a lot more that goes into it. Even though you do see some of the fast racing guys, it's about YouTube and entertainment. There's a fine line of entertainment and who the person is, and what we do here is humanize who you're watching. Would you agree?
That's awesome.
Eve?
I totally, well said, Mike. I couldn't have said it better myself, my good friend.
Let's see what we got here. Futuristic Viper again mentioned here. When Snoo got into cars, his content wasn't enjoyable anymore. I'm gonna have to agree with that. I'm gonna have to agree with that because it became very. I mean, granted, we all in the business for entertainment, also to do make money as well. I would be a liar if I told you that's not the case. But his became blatantly just about clickbait and using his girl and look how lavish I am. To me, a little tasteless in my personal opinion. Not that I'm just saying you shouldn't flex your stuff. That's never really been my style, to be honest. But his flex is really just like, I'm better than you, and you should know it. So it's different.
Yes. Yeah, very much.
Let's see what we got pulled up here.
Oh, somebody's asking me a question, Mike. Luke Yang, 23, wants to know, what would have to be my favorite bike in my collection except the 1250 GS? Luke, let me tell you, my good friend, I brought 8 motorcycles down to Miami for Miami Manny, his brother Nima, Michael Knight, and myself to ride, and Manny's one of Manny's workers, Hector, to ride. Okay, tough guy. I brought down 2 Busas, the M1000, 3 S1000s, my HP4, my H2. They rode all those bikes, Luke. Let me tell you one thing, tough guy. The bike that everybody was fighting over to ride was the R1250 GS Adventure. Literally fighting to ride that bike. And it wasn't because it had a bag or anything. We didn't need to carry it. I had the drone in there, which the video is going to have some amazing drone footage. But the bike is just so fun, so torquey, so just crazy with all the lights on it and the air horn and all that. Okay, but to answer your question, the GS is my favorite bike for sure. Second favorite would be the M1000RR, especially after they put the thinner head gasket on it and everything. It just has a lot of great power now. The bike has definitely woken up from the factory setting, and all the parts that Manny has on it with the carbon fiber subframe and the carbon fiber full belly pan, the amazing Akrapovic exhaust, all that stuff just makes it into an amazing bike. So the M1000RR.
So here's the interesting thing, man. You really like that GS, huh?
I love it, man. And if you rode it too, Mike, you would absolutely go crazy. All the guys did. They were hating on. They were like, "Why did you bring this GS down here to Miami?" They were like, "Why? What's the point?" And they rode it, and everybody is fighting over it. I want to ride it. You rode it. You rode it for 15 minutes. Let me ride it. So.
Just want to pull this up here by Fastlane D. He's basically saying, at this point, I think Eve has built a platform that's much bigger than YouTube. I love that he's thinking ahead. Yeah, man, he's definitely awesome. And I think it made it very difficult for anybody to keep up with what you're doing, only because it was quickly changing season to season. And again, like I said, for me at this point, after I saw it with Jay Leno, and I'm like, I give up. I'm just gonna follow my own thing.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was an amazing experience, man. I had always had dreams of, when I was a young kid, Mike, I wanted to be an actor. And I was actually in some small Cleveland productions. I was an extra in the freaking Winter Soldier, Captain America film that was partially filmed here in Cleveland. And then from there, I went to a couple auditions. I quickly figured out, Mike, that being an actor wouldn't work for me because I can't remember lines for anything. I could not. It was a simple 2-line thing. I couldn't remember it, man. I was so embarrassed. And that's when I said, okay, acting's not for me. So when I was a kid, I said, oh, I would love to be on the Jay Leno show one day and have him, be talking to Jay. And things happened in crazy ways. I ended up being in Jay Leno's garage and meeting Jay, but it wasn't for the reason I thought it would be for being an actor. It was because I make YouTube videos. So it's pretty cool.
All right, so I have one here by Team Green. Still do the bike series. So
Yes.
I'm sure he's referring here. No matter what you do, even though you drop out of the Smackdowns, guys, I wouldn't bet my money that Eve is not going to completely vanish from like riding motorcycles. I think it's just going to be more tame or a little bit more calculated in terms of riding his bikes. That way, he doesn't lead a bad example for his children to kind of follow. I think that's the overall idea. So
you're exactly right, Mike. And I'm never going to stop doing the build series as long as I can. But I think that what I would like to do, I really enjoyed my last video, just filming Chris Moore and Certified Rider and some of the other guys that were there, having a nice, high quality, high definition camera to film their amazing bikes and get their footage from their racing and put it in the video. I don't necessarily at this point need to be out there racing per se, but I think that I can make some amazing videos showing folks what these guys do, how they go. It'd be more documentary. It'd be really, really cool way of doing it, man. Of like behind the scenes, you know, showing all the stuff these guys have to go through. People think that these guys just roll their bikes off a trailer and race them. No, they don't. Chris Moore was out there for 4 or 5 hours tuning and setting up his bikes before he could even race. And I think that there's definitely a market for that, and I think that I could do a good job at it. So I'm going to try it out.
Oh man, somebody's knocking on Black Moses' door on a new wave. I have here Majin Buu again, Dragon Ball Z guy here. I totally agree with 650. A lot of these manufacturers give people opportunities, and these people don't even know how to ride. So, again, that's part of our conversation a little bit earlier about who's qualified to actually talk about these bikes or get opportunities. So it's a tough conversation to kind of have or determine, because you don't know what some of these manufacturers are looking for. Are they looking for clout at the moment for a specific product, or are they trying to get all positive reviews? Because sometimes they could take advantage of someone's ignorance, actually. Because again, I always tell people, just because a company is giving you something for free, they know if they reach out to a young guy that's pretty, you know, I don't want to use the word poor, but doesn't have much, and say, oh, I'll give you this item, it's $500, and the person's so excited, they get it and they shoot a video and they say all great things, and it might not have been a great thing. I think at least in the position that I am at the moment and where Ebe is at, yes, he gets certain things, you know, allotted to his channel for he can promote and market, but if he really needed these items, he could buy them. I think there's a big difference here, at least in my opinion. What do you think, Ebe?
Yeah, I think that applies, Mike. But here's the thing. Here's what I tell people all the time. I said, in some cases, Mike, I wouldn't buy these bikes if I didn't have the backing of Moto Million to put parts on them. You know, take the Honda that I'm going to get, the 30th anniversary Honda. That's a $30,000 bike. When you figure in the parts and stuff, that's an additional 25, 30,000 or something around that. And I would never ride the bike just stock. So I probably wouldn't buy that bike if I didn't have the support of Moto Million. Having said that, I earned that support. You know, I've helped out the company grow tremendously, and it's a one hand washes the other hand's the sort of thing there. And I think that what I tell some of these companies too, Mike, is this: you know, there's a fee for my services, but this fee is so that I can offer my services.
Yeah.
Right. If it's company, there's a company that wants me to come out and do a meetup at their dealership, you know, out west. Okay. And I told this company, okay, well, I'm going to send you a proposal, because you do realize that fuel is, and they want me to bring my bikes, by the way. It's a BMW dealership. They want me to bring the M, the HP4, and the GS, clear across country. And I'm like, you do realize that fuel is $5 and something a gallon, right? And, you know, I've got, you know, a brand new F250 I've got to pay for, and the trailers and stuff, and my time. There's going to be a proposal that comes with this, and hopefully you guys will be able to accept it, and you can get me out there. But the days of just requesting me to come out and I come out there, that pretty much doesn't happen anymore. I think a lot of those companies assume that us vloggers or us influencers sort of need their businesses to make content, we really don't. We can make content just riding for free on the streets of the city that we're invited to. We don't need to really be at ABC store or ABC's shop to make a video. So,
Well, I think what happens is they're very used to people taking $200 to $300 to $500 items for free as compensation. And I always advise anybody that I'm cool with or that asks me for advice. I said, listen, if you, depending on what you want to do, if you just want to get a free helmet and you're tight, that's what you want. That's the overall idea, whatever you're doing, your review, whatever, that's fine. But if you're looking at this from a business perspective, do not take anything for free. Make sure you could buy what you want and be very clear about that. Because what ends up happening is once you take that initial, hey, you know, the company look at it as your sort of compensation. And it's very hard to backtrack off that saying, hey, you know, I know the first 3 videos, that was that. But now you can't change the rules after you start playing the game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So
that is exactly how it works.
So
but you know, and to that note, Mike, there might be 10 companies out there, right? 6 of them are not going to see it your way. 6 of them are going to say, no, we don't want to pay you. But you don't just go after those 4 that will. You know what I mean? And those other companies are going to be the ones that truly benefit at the end of the day.
Yes.
You know.
There was another oh crap. I'll tell you that off camera actually. I have a good story about a company. Basically, you guys know I work with motivation. There was another potential company that I could have been doing the same thing with, but it didn't work. But now, I guess 2 years down the line, now it's like a whole other story because they're seeing conversion for it. So that's a whole other story, man. But let me show you guys. Let's pull up just a few more comments here, guys. Again, oh my God, I'm like, yeah, we're going to leave. And then more stuff are coming up. So I'm just going to do a few more, I promise.
This is great, man. This is going all night.
But I do enjoy doing these, though, man. It's great.
You're very good at it, Mike. This is your niche, as well as the other things that you're going to do with your channel. I think it's going to be great.
You think so?
I know so. Yeah, I know so. Yeah, it cannot be. I mean, you're putting forth the effort. You've got the great layout and format and stuff, and people love seeing their names, their comments flashing on the screens with their icons next to it. I think that's amazing. You had Jay Electronica in here for a while, for Pete's sake, and he was commenting on a lot of people. And this is a Grammy-winning freaking multi-millionaire artist that was in your stream today.
By the way, he did buy his first Ducati because of you, he said. When you were rebooting your computer, he said he came from a Harley. Because of you, he bought a Ducati. Again, very important things right here. Again, those are all conversion, guys. These are all important things. We're talking about important people that are not just important people, but pretty much regular, average, everyday people are becoming riders or buying bikes and stuff. I mean, MotoGP is amazing. Once you get into motorcycling, Moto America, MotoGP, track days and stuff like that, those are all amazing. But most of us get into this from other guys we're seeing, people riding in the street. Oh, how are they riding in these motorcycles? So we're a lot more influential than we think we are. And I think a lot of companies do know that. And they take advantage of a lot of people that are completely unaware.
They absolutely do, and I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to slam the door in their faces because I work with Manny at Moto Million now. I can tell everybody else to go fly a kite. It's really awesome.
All right, Abe. So I'm just gonna give you the floor right now, just so you kind of let people know where they could find you, and then we'll just kind of wrap up because I think if I go through the comments, we'll be here all night, guys. So.
Okay, Mike. Man, this is awesome, man. We didn't even get to talk about how you and I met. How did we meet? Because I have a memory that's crazy.
Nah, man, again, same thing. If you watch the stream from beginning to end, you'll see this guy hasn't changed from the time that, he started off, from the time before he started riding to now, who he is, all the bikes, all the glitz and glamour. You reached out to me, dude. You were bigger than my channel. And you're like, I'm coming to New York. I want to hang out. I'm going to be in the motorcycle show. And from there, it's all history, man. Just normal stuff. I remember seeing your videos. You were doing like a walk around of like a mansion and stuff, and your friend had a Ferrari and stuff like that. I'm like, holy shit, that is so dope. Because I mean, I'm not saying black people was not on YouTube, but it was not very often you saw like a successful black person that's doing well. And I thought that was so motivating. I was like, oh my God, thank God it's not somebody that's like hip hop or a street. It was just a regular guy, and that connects to me. You know what I mean? I'm a hardworking individual that works in a professional environment, and I think that to me is great because every time we see like a black image, I'm kind of going on a tangent, so let's not make that. It's never something like this. So I thought that was a very powerful thing, and I was very inspired. And after that, man, it's just we're here. We're here.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. It's totally fantastic. But, you know, you asked me to what I wanted to say. Yeah, man, just everybody continue watching, everybody in the motovlogging space, all the awesome vloggers that we mentioned today. Please continue to support and watch their channels. I'm going to forget some of their names, but some of them are Motomac TV, Reaper 1K, Jack Be Quick, of course, Fastlane D. He's in the fast lane. He's doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
He's deserving of his flowers at the moment. Everyone else, hopefully 5UP Motorcycles will come back, but he's extremely busy. 5UP is an enormously talented individual, but he's kind of like me in a way. 5UP would ask me all the time, Steve, why the hell don't you get more into wrenching on your bikes? Why don't you embrace, understand wrenching? And I said, Steve, it's because I'm focused on social media influencing. I do realize when he stepped back from that a little bit to make YouTube videos, then his real business suffered a little bit. So same thing. So, you know, continue to support the other vloggers out there. You know, everybody's doing a great job at what they're doing, and there's plenty of space and opportunity for everyone to shine on the YouTube. It's only getting bigger. I don't really see another platform coming anytime soon. They tried it. Yahoo had a freaking platform that lived for about 2 months that was supposed to compete with YouTube, and it died off. Vimeo is never going to take off.
No.
So yeah, YouTube is where it's at. Continue to put your efforts in YouTube and stuff, and try to do different things, and continue to watch what I'm doing. I think I'm going to have some cool offerings for people that are really into motorcycles, trucks, and even cars to a degree. I think it'll be great to continue watching what we have coming up in store.
All right, guys, thank you everybody for tuning in. But most importantly, guys, if you want to continue seeing Ebe produce his content, travel, meet up with you guys, ride, make sure you hit up his Patreon and sign up. You have to sign up. We don't ask for much. We're not asking you to go out of your way. A lot of the stuff is not super expensive. He's doing all of the legwork, reaching out to all the companies, getting all these bikes all together, coming out of pocket to buy these bikes, you know what I mean, and kind of build them for you guys. So hitting that Patreon button and subscribe to him is going to keep him in the game for a long time and being able to be creative and not just pigeonhole to just producing content and just, you know, doing SmackDown. So definitely do that. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're tuning in late, you're watching this, or you're listening to it on your drive, make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you have questions, any comments, comment, even though you're not part of the live chat. We're going to come back and reply to those. I always reply to everything. So again, thank you. I also wanted to say a big thank you to 750 Swift. He did several super chat throughout this entire thing. That's always very cool. It's not a absolute necessity, but it's cool to see that as well. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in, man. Guys, you have a good night. Thank you all. Peace.